says we're live.
Are
It
we?
says we're live, but I don't know. Should we double check? Hello, is this thing on? Hello, welcome everybody to the pre-show, arguably the best show, part of the show of the Full Nerds. And we're here. We're going to talk about PC stuff, but by way of security, because we literally have a white hat here with us. Wait, hold on.
Wait a minute.
I think you wore the wrong hat, or I have the right one, or maybe I have the wrong guy. Maybe maybe this guy hacked in.
Nah.
Yeah.
That's right. I'm the cool hacker that took over the stream.
Nice. The cool one.
Yeah.
All right. We also have one Glenn Ma over on the verticals and horizontals.
What's up?
He saw what you were saying in the chat earlier.
I did.
Uh-oh.
I'm not touching anything for reference.
Yeah. Actually, I got to say, Mikey, I think I told you earlier, but I just unboxed this System 76 laptop. So
New one?
yeah, it's a new one. It comes by default with Pop OS running the Cosmic Desktop,
All right.
which I've been meaning to get back to and try it out because the System 76 laptop was my very first Linux experience with the old Pop pre-Cosmic. So yeah.
Gloat a little bit. What's it like?
I mean, like I was telling Glenn that System 76 caters. I mean, because they're like one of the only manufacturers that ships just with Linux options. You can either get Pop or Ubuntu. So like they really cater to Linux people and to a lot of sysadmins and stuff like that. So like they're not prioritizing fit and finish and build quality and like, oh, look how beautiful and like Mac like it is. It's a lot more utilitarian. That said, I mean it's pretty well made. I mean it is plastic, so it's like deceivingly light, but it's got a matte screen, which oh boy, I love matte screens. High refresh rate. I got my tiling window manager going on, so like first impressions of the build quality is not bad, not bad at all. But
Sweet. And what about the quality of like the drivers, the OS?
I mean, like I said, I haven't, like I just barely kind of set this up. I did install the Cosmic version of Fedora on a different laptop just to try it out real quick, just to do like a quick compare and contrast. And I do like Cosmic, and you can have it run in a tiling window manager, which I'm going to try to just use this as a tiling window manager.
Nice.
But yeah, have you ever messed around with the tiling window manager, Mikey? No. Yeah, it is a little weird to get used to, but it is kind of nice that so much of it is controlled with keyboard commands, hotkey functions. So like moving between workspaces is just like holding down the super key and then up and down on the D-pad. And then if I had more applications open, which I don't because I barely have anything on here, then yeah, you could like change the focus in the view anyway.
Okay, wait. Pre-show.
Yep, pre-show.
Before everything starts.
Yes.
Mikey said he wanted to answer it on stream, so I want to know.
Oh.
What's in the background? This is this is something apparently I would know about if I was born in the good old days of like the 90s or something. But
yeah, I think I know what this is.
I don't know what it is.
I want to know if chat knows what this is. So
Okay.
chat.
Okay.
And then we're gonna try to. Oh, I'm sure somebody in chat will know what this is. Like I think I know what this is because I feel like I asked you. Did you have this set up when I came to your house?
Nope, this is new.
Oh, this is new. Okay.
I just did this not that long ago.
It's pretty cool.
And to clarify, they look like birds passing by.
It's like Wallpaper Engine, but in real life.
Oh, you're getting warmer. You're actually not that far off. Scary enough.
Yeah.
You're not that far off.
All right. Oh yeah. So
White things moving on screen too small to see, says Tech Kev.
Yeah. So these little birds moving at different speeds, and they're kind of moving from top right to bottom left. Some are white, some are yellow. Are those the right colors?
Flying Toaster Screensaver says.
Oh, those are. Oh yeah. That's what it is. Yep.
Hell yes, it is.
What is
from Berkeley Systems?
What is flying toasters? Yeah, I'm confused.
They're literally toasters with wings.
They're literally.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a really popular screensaver back in the day.
Oh, I thought they were
exactly.
birds.
This is Windows 95, right?
Screensavers were everything. Like screensavers were a huge deal back then.
Like
I don't remember the name of it.
First level personalization in the old days.
Yeah, you could have the pipes. You could have, for me, like I always did the Wolfenstein 3D one, where it looks like you're going down a hallway.
Oh, I
and
hated that one.
You hated that one?
It was so
that was my
disorienting
favorite.
for me. It was disorienting.
That was such a good one.
Yeah, I actually don't remember the toaster one from 95. I guess I just always
Berkeley
stuck with.
Systems. It was called After Dark. Was the package of screensavers?
Oh, it wasn't built in.
Nope. It was.
Okay.
You had to download it. It was only Mac. You had to download it. It was or buy it. It was boxed. I know, right? $30, $40 for a screensaver package.
Think of this as like the earliest iteration of microtransactions
Oh, okay.
for games.
Okay. So people were okay with paying for screensavers, but they weren't okay with the horse armor.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
and like
Because the
Elena
thing
said,
is that it's a never ending thing for microtransactions. I mean, you get one pack of screensavers, you're pretty good.
Okay.
and listen, if you came across a really good screensaver, like I remember back when we worked together, and I found that one that was the 2001 Space Odyssey. So it was essentially all of the screens
HAL
that
9000 screen.
all of the screens from the fictional computer displays or whatever. I loved that one. I'd put it on all my systems. I still have that installer somewhere. It's probably
That was
deprecated,
badass.
but I mean the thing is I don't use screensavers anymore. So I don't really use it. Usually, if I'm gonna walk away from my desk, I just hit Windows L and lock the system, and like just.
But what happens is it just going to be that boring lock screen?
For a second, then it just goes to black.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
I have to pay for my electricity now, man.
Yeah.
But the toasters, man.
Oh, I'm burning trees. Oh, I'm wasting. my-
No, I'm just saying where you live is probably way cheaper than where we live for electricity rates.
He's in the
Well, it's
desert.
terrible here too.
Yeah. they have to pipe in water from our state, I think, to your state, right? Or no, it all comes from
California, or
Nevada.
Colorado. Sorry, we pump in.
Colorado. Oh, okay.
I'm in Arizona, so we pump in Colorado water, and we just got restricted. We just got a lot less water
Uh-oh.
coming in over the next few years, so it'll be
Beautiful.
interesting.
Beautiful.
Oh, I love this. Hold on, I gotta highlight this
Please.
comment from the chat. Where is it? It scrolled. Oh no, what happened to it? It was basically like, you guys had screensavers, not on Unix.
Oh no.
It's
I
that meme
can't.
of like, you guys had what?
Unix. I know this system. Just kidding.
Just that little flashing cursor at the top left that gets burned into your CRT.
Oh! Speaking of
rather have
CRTs, Glenn said he came across a CRTV.
Yes. I finally found one.
I'm sorry. Hold on. It's not a CRTV. It's a CRT television.
Cool.
I can't believe I made that mistake. But yeah, I found it at the house. That was
Yeah.
probably used by your dad, but you don't really know where it came from.
No, I don't really know. But I was told that there might be one in the house somewhere, and I finally found it, and it was in a box labeled e-waste. So I'm glad we did something about it.
Yes.
Did you actually e-waste it though?
No, my guess is that when we were cleaning out, like from a while ago, that we probably just saw it and was like, oh, this is probably junk, and just put it in that box. And we're like, oh, wait, actually. gotta
Now
save
it's
that.
worth something.
Yeah. So I'm glad we saved it. I have to plug it in and find out if it still works. But
Yeah, but you don't remember using it growing up or anything?
no,
You always had
No.
flat panels.
we did have a big, like a pretty chunky TV. I want to say it was a CRT just because of how like thick it was. But
Early LCD was pretty thick too.
okay, yeah, it might have been an early LCD, but I don't know what happened to that TV.
It depends how thick it is, right? So if you only remember it being like yay thick, that's probably an early flat panel. If it's pretty, cabinet
it was
depth.
pretty cabinet.
Yeah.
But it was also really big. So I was like, I don't know why.
You
would
mean
have
like
a
screen
CRT.
size?
Yeah, like and
They got pretty big, some of them, actually.
but those are like I don't know why my dad would buy such an expensive CRT. Like if he knew
It's your
LCDs were
dad.
coming, like why invest in
well,
CRT?
nobody-
Hold on. You thought he bought it? There's a
Oh,
good
yeah,
chance
okay, that's
maybe
true.
somebody was like, I don't want this, and he's like, you can't just get rid of
That's
this.
true.
Yeah, that's
probably
very,
left over in the
very
office.
on brand
Which
right
is
there.
what I'm doing with some of the stuff at your house now. So anyway.
Learn from the master.
Killer B says, one man's e-waste is a retro gamer's treasure. It's true. Yeah.
Very true.
And then I was telling him about there's a project, Will knows about it. There's a guy here in the Bay Area who's trying to recreate the gun because a lot of the CRTs that people think are dead isn't the actual tube itself, which is a finite resource. But if you can change out the gun to have it be a newer system, then
that's so dangerous.
I know, yeah. But if this guy could figure it out, he could bring new life to old CRTs that everyone just thinks are dead, and nobody's ever going to make those tubes again. So yeah,
I mean, people have done crazier things. Have you seen that video of the guy? He built like a clean room in his backyard to like fab like microchips or something.
Yeah, someone made their own RAM.
Yeah, there was a guy who like built his own like clean room and like has the whole like the
Mm-hmm.
setup with the spinning, I forgot what it's called, the like dissolver stuff.
Centrifuge or
Yeah,
whatever?
and it's like it's super crazy. It's like
And the
build chips.
craziest part is that with all that effort, he didn't make much, right? Like the capacity of what he made was really small, which just kind of proved how much of an endeavor it really is.
everyone's going to have hobbies. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not dunking on him. I'm just saying that it actually was an experiment to show just how difficult it is to make something of the capacities we're used to.
Yeah. Also yes, thank you. It's a electron gun. Yeah. So if you can make a modern electron gun and the tube is still good, then yeah, that's what he's trying to do. Will has more information about it. I don't
easy
remember,
peasy,
but
right?
Just
Like,
easy peasy. Yeah.
plug and play.
It probably never will be plug and play, but it's a good preservation effort. Come on, Glenn. Maybe that's what you'll learn at
Speaking
school.
of that, I did want to ask Glenn a question, and this is relevant actually. It's kind of a segue in, if that's okay. So I was at DEFCON, big hacker
Spoilers.
conference recently, and I saw a great session, and I took a picture during the session of the speaker up on stage, and the speaker was using a device during his lecture, and I want to know if you know, Glenn, what this is. So
Okay.
Elena and Adam, you need to not say anything, just to see if we know what it is. Is that all right?
Yep. All right.
Okay.
I'm gonna
And-
put
and
it on.
Elena, I can see the
testing.
cringe. It's not.
I'm not
cringe, don't
cringing.
worry.
I'm just thinking. I'm just already prepping myself not to blurt out the answer.
Okay. Here
I'm
you
gonna
go.
put the camera on Glenn so he can.
Oh wait. Oh yes. Yeah. Yes. What? People still use those things? That's
Just
crazy.
people-
Oh my god.
Still use these.
Wow.
So you know what
That's
it is.
it's like one of those old projectors, right? Is it not?
Things. It is.
Right? Yeah. Wow. Because I remember, I think my first grade teacher had one, and she used it a few times, and I was like, why don't you use like the digital ones? But what is that camera?
I have so
Is that-
many.
is-
I have
is
so
it like
many
a regular
questions.
broadcast camera, or is that like?
yeah, that's an ENG camera.
Okay, that's like that's
Also, did we
broadcast.
accidentally just dock somebody here?
Oh,
No.
he put that up. He invited people over.
Oh,
He put his address up on there. This is at the whole conference. This isn't like just me.
Okay.
This was at DEF CON, so if you're
yes.
going to expose any of your private life to DEF CON,
Yeah, he's all about that. He's all about drop by.
I have questions. Why is he still wearing his backpack while
He
presenting?
didn't take it off the whole time. He didn't take it
Yeah.
off.
It seems very uncomfortable.
That might have been my first grade teacher up there.
He looks like Doc Brown, and he acts like an energetic Doc Brown.
More energetic than Doc Brown.
whoa, yeah. Hold on. How
Yeah.
can you get more energetic than Doc
Does he
Brown?
drive a DeLorean?
Like an amped up Doc Brown. That's no joke.
Dang.
This guy was amazing.
wow.
So
And he's, yeah.
my question is the reason why he chose this machine to present on because that's just what he had, or because he specifically was trying to avoid his presentation getting hacked?
It's a very good question. So I hadn't seen an overhead projector in literally decades. So when I saw this, I kind of had the same idea. And he explained that these slides, the transparencies, he's using these transparencies during the session. These are the same transparencies he used in the mid 1980s when he presented to the NSA and the FBI.
Oh, how
And
fun!
Wow.
he kept the transparencies. And
Oh,
so,
I love that. A throwback.
yeah,
Also, that
He had
must have
a
been
bunch
a
of 'em.
pain to get through TSA.
I have no idea how he got any of it. But he
What if he drove?
He wore his backpack the whole time. There's some cookies down here towards the bottom.
Yeah, I
where
noticed.
he
There's food at the bottom.
He decided during the middle of the session to just take a break and eat some cookies, and that's minestrone soup that he drank.
You know
out of
what?
This giant bottle on the bottom.
here
Oh my
for it.
God. I've heard of some crazy combos, but cookies and minestrone soup, man.
You know what? We don't food shame
Okay.
here.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
yeah, don't
was
knock until you
wild.
try it, I guess.
Cilantro flavored chips.
I just want to know if anyone brought a Ditto machine.
Ditto, because you could sniff it right after. It
Okay.
gets slightly high.
I don't
do
know
you know-
about that. I don't know about
Really?
that one.
Okay, we
I
gotta
like-
explain
maybe
this
if I
to you
could
after the show.
describe it,
We
but-
gotta show it to
okay.
you. It is. There's a sensory experience to it that it's really hard to put into words as well, because there's a very specific quality and feel to the paper when it first comes off the machine. Yeah, a face you're making is kind of what it feels like when you first touch it. You're like,
Okay. Is this what people used to do along with spray paint and paper bags and stuff? Or like,
No, this was the precursor to a Xerox
Yeah, I
machine.
was going to
Okay.
say spray paint and paper bags. That didn't exist when we were kids.
Yeah.
that came on.
It's not like our era was
Yeah.
the huffing era or anything.
Yeah.
I know we got to start, but that reminds me of I had to go buy like canned like the air dusters or whatever, and I used a self checkout machine, and it was like, oh, like please wait, somebody's gonna come and check your ID, and I was like,
That's why we can't have nice things.
what?
Yep.
I'm just
Yep.
trying to clean my graphics card, man.
Yeah.
That stuff is like permanent damage too. That's really harsh.
Yeah.
Oh gosh. I love this comment in the chat from
Yes.
one friend of the show, Day. It is his, I think, a reference to the overhead projector. Oh boy, Latin class in high school. The teacher was a bit out there and would often not understand why it wasn't working. Meanwhile, we were all being blinded because it was facing us and not the wall.
Oh, whoops. Whoops.
That's pretty funny.
Oh wow, that's something.
All right.
Yep.
You know what else is
Holy
something?
moly.
Is starting the show. Because we're already
How are we?
You're right on time.
How are we 18 minutes into
yeah,
a
we're already
pre-show?
18.
Whoops.
Well, 17 because we started 1 minute later. But you know,
All
this is
right.
what happened when Mikey. What happens when Mikey's here? We just have too much fun. I have the intro queued up, which continues to have the hard cutoff. So try not to laugh.
I don't know if I can succeed.
Mikey, just don't distract. Just
You
plug
don't.
your ears.
You got to
Fade it
set me
out.
up for
Don't worry
success,
about it,
man.
yeah.
This is hard.
I'm
DJ
I'm
Adam
bracing
Murray.
for you right now. Okay, what are we talking about? I could just
Stuff.
Oh. Things.
Okay. I mean, I could just cheap out and say DEFCON, but no.
No.
All right, here we go.
Wow.
All right. In this episode of The Full Nerd, we talk about DEFCON 2026 recap that includes kernel level anti-cheat and why that sucks, and also Wi-Fi hacking and how you can keep yourself safe. Look at that. Bam.
Nice.
Is it
I'll
really
take it.
our show if we only
Do
get
the
one
math.
take?
Yeah, right. And welcome everybody to episode. What episode is this? I don't even know. 413.
I'm sorry. I
Quit
tried.
laughing.
I tried and I failed. But not as hard as Mikey.
What's wrong with you?
Episode 413 of the Full Nerd, PC World's premier podcast, offering the most level-headed takes on the internet about PC enthusiast PC news. I'm your fill-in host, Adam Patrick Murray, but I am not alone.
Nope.
Here at the table with me for one of the final times
What?
is, well, before I move, we go on digital, is my
I was like, is
co-host,
my
Lady.
getting canned on air?
Damn.
No.
Hi,
Hi,
everyone. That was a shock to my system. We're going to need a moment.
Also on the line, coming to us through the glory of the interwebs, is one Mike Danseglio, who is a certified ethical
Yay.
hacker and a CISSP. I always forget what CISSP stands for, but
Security stuff.
security stuff. Welcome back, Mikey.
Thank you. Thank you,
You've
Adam.
been on the show. You've been on PC World. You've been all over. But remind the people, just in case this is their first time they are hearing from you. What do you do? Who are you?
So who am I? So I'm Mike. Been working in tech forever, like most of us have. I focus right now and for the last, 25, 50 years, whatever it is, on information security. I do
Why is that
white hat
funny,
hacking.
Elena?
Sorry,
Because he's obviously not old enough to have been doing this for 50 years.
I'm pretty close. It's actually pretty disturbingly close. 46. 46 years.
Nice.
If we go all the way back.
All the way. Back in my
I
day.
know. But I look so young and youthful and radiant.
Yeah, look at that.
What
And
vegetable
I've
blood
done
are you
all
bathing
kinds
in?
of security work, protection, attack, audit, all that kind of stuff. I teach a lot. I teach at conferences. I teach it at schools. Yeah, I just love InfoSec. So when Adam said, "Hey, Mike, come on and talk about InfoSec," I'm like, "Yes, that sounds good." Actually, I begged him to be on because
Mostly security related topics, maybe a little bit of PC related stuff. But yeah, before we go any further, I do need to mention that sitting behind the camera, controlling the verticals and horizontals, is one Glenn Ma. Hello, Glenn.
Hello. I'm controlling with the force.
With the force of your mind, yes. And so, yeah, before we get going, I do want to once again try to keep people informed about the transition going on. Like I mentioned a couple weeks ago, I am moving cross country. I'm staying with the company, but I'm moving cross country to Raleigh, North Carolina. We've talked about this. You have family out in North Carolina. You've actually been there.
North Kakalaki.
Yeah,
absolutely.
What can I expect? Somebody just introduced me to the concept of boiled peanuts.
What?
Yesterday.
Oh,
I like that we're
Wait.
almost simultaneous there.
I don't know. I've never had them. Have you had boiled peanuts?
Yeah, I have actually. They're pretty good.
Okay.
They're pretty good.
Do you just boil the
So
peanuts?
there's two things that you need to know, Adam, that you might not know before you get there.
Okay.
One is food related. One is dialect related.
Okay.
The food related one is in North Carolina, there are two kinds of barbecue.
They both suck.
There's Eastern North Carolina and Western North Carolina.
Okay.
And you stay the heck away from the Eastern North Carolina garbage.
Okay.
Because that's just, it's like mustard based sauce and it's just vile, nasty stuff.
Okay.
Just personal preference, obviously.
Yeah.
And then I saw you use the word yuns recently.
Yins. Yeah.
How do you say it?
Yins. Well, because I was in Pittsburgh for a couple years, so I take theirs, which is yins, which is an extension of yuns, but more.
North Carolina.
Okay. All right. I dig it. I need help.
Right
I need this training. Yeah. So let's see. Like I said, I just want to keep people informed. I will be moving towards the end of September. So I think, yeah, I'm going to be moving that last week of September. So we have a handful of podcasts left.
Yeah.
So,
and you're staying here. You're not going over to Germany. So
oh yeah. So
Yeah.
I canceled my Germany trip for a lot of reasons, but mostly because I need more time to set up stuff here. So I won't be attending IFA. Missing out on some of the announcements over there, but that's okay because I want to make sure we're set up for future success here. So the studio will continue to be used. Alex will continue to make video. Elena continued. Actually, we're setting up a whole new studio for Elena, which is very exciting. But the Full Nerd will transition to all remote. This is something I was testing back with Will, so we're gonna do some testing in a couple weeks. So we probably have a couple more weeks in this setup. But yeah, I think Mikey, you might be. There's a good chance you might be our last guest remoting in this form or fashion. So in the future, we'll have an all remote kind of thing, and I have big plans for it. It's going to start off real basic to make sure everything's working fine, but like I really do want to introduce more interesting visuals. You know, being able to kind of full screen on people or like do 2 up and 3 up and all that kind of fun, cool streamery stuff, dude. So yeah.
Can we? Hopefully it won't be a copyright strike every time, but I would really love every time we say yay, we could just have like the little the little birthday grunt sound from Halo.
we can try to fly close to the sun. We'll see what happens. Yeah. And then Glenn actually told me that later this week he's going down for orientation for school, right?
Oh, already?
Yeah, I have to. It's like a 1-day thing, and I have to like drive down and then drive back up. So,
Ew.
yeah.
You already know what kind of
run.
You already know what kind of classes you're going to be taking? Anything like that?
No, except in very typical engineering fashion, the only teacher available for that one class you really need is like the worst person you've ever met. So I'm very excited. The classes sound really cool, but yeah.
One of the classes has a bad teacher.
A few of them.
Oh, a few of them. Oh.
A few of them. It's like the reviews are like, do not take this teacher under any circumstances.
Oh, great.
Doesn't like unclear lectures, bad tests, like everything. And I'm like, I gotta take this class though.
Oof. Okay. Well, good luck.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're doing a lot on the back end here. So bear with us. But I want to try to be as transparent as possible and little interruption to the actual podcast as possible. And also, I mean, there's not a ton of news. There was some news out of IFA or Gamescom, I should say. Like Nvidia announced some stuff. Asus, whatever. I don't know. I'd rather sit down and talk with Mikey about DEFCON specifically because
That's the more important conference.
you've been going to
Hell
DEFCON
yes.
physically for many years, and I've always wanted to go.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it's never really lined up scheduling wise. But Mikey, you were there once again for DEFCON 2026. I want to get a vibe check, just to get people to understand what DEFCON is. Maybe we can start with that, and then move into like what were the themes from this year before we dig into the real nitty gritty topics. So
Absolutely. So DEFCON is a community-run hacking conference. It's for black hat hackers. It's for folks that are actually in the information security space to learn and teach each other. It's like a not-for-profit, so it's not like a big corporate registered, profitable kind of event. So it's very different than most industry events. It's more of a con, and it's massive. There's usually at least 30,000 people there. We take over the entire Las Vegas Convention Center in August, so there's a lot of smells that go along with hackers being in 110 degrees all day.
actually,
Shenanigans.
and that, to be fair, that's going to happen whether it's cold or warm outside. But it just
but-
probably makes
Wow,
it worse.
Adam, you're just
Hey,
doubling down on
Been to a
calling people out.
lot of cons, okay? Anime cons, gaming
Anime
conventions.
cons are their own thing, though.
Hey, listen, the smell transcends all sorts of conventions. So
Well, have you ever been inside of the computer science building? That one isn't great either.
okay,
so.
yeah. I mean, but I think it's also orders of magnitude of how many people are there. you know?
Yeah, it's like
Yeah, but
concentrated.
It's like a lecture hall of like 200 people.
Oh,
It's like a
200,
it's like a
come
badge
on.
of honor,
Yeah, yeah.
They don't
you get
let you in.
30,000 hacking nerds together that are all standing very close to each other so we can get into a session, and you just get a friend of mine, Pip, we were there a long time ago together, and we sat down to this session, and this guy came in and sat next to us, and of course he was wearing a witty Linux saying kind of t-shirt.
Wow, throwing
And
the
the
Linux
odor-
people under the bus.
Well, because it was a hacker conference, so everybody was wearing a witty Linux t-shirt. That's just like a uniform. But this guy smelled like a combination of.
Oh boy.
Oh yeah, it was pretty good. It was like
no.
a combination of Old Spice,
Oh no.
a tire fire,
No.
and an armpit factory, all combined into
awesome.
one.
Are we gonna lose our PG-13 friendly rating here?
I think that's the guy you want on your like cybersecurity team,
Really?
I'm sure he was next.
yeah, yeah. You're hired. Just keep your distance, but you're hired. Anyway, apart from the smells, and if you can bump his fader up, the laptop fader a little bit, please. Yeah. So what kind of stuff was going on there? What was the overall thing? A lot of people are in the chat already asking, "Hey, was AI coming for everyone's jobs, just like everybody else?"
So thank God y'all asked that, because that was what I expected, and it was totally not the case.
Really?
AI was a very small part of the event, even though, at places like RSA, AI was everything,
yeah.
every session,
Ugh.
right, Elena?
Ugh. Yeah.
You couldn't blink without it. Yeah, at DEF CON, it was very much, AI is an interesting target sometimes. Like sometimes people throw their data into an engine and don't think about it. They don't think about security of it. But it was not about using AI for hacking as the entire thing. I mean, out of the entire event, I maybe saw one or two sessions that were very AI focused, and it was very much about victimizing AI. It wasn't about using AI. It wasn't about AI making our life better. AI, I think very much the hacker community takes on the Linus Torvalds mentality of it's a tool. AI is a tool, and sometimes that tool works great for you, and sometimes that tool is not the right tool.
Yeah.
AI as a hacking target. So, I would like some information about Adam Patrick Murray. Maybe Adam Patrick Murray uses some Perplexity product. So can I extract through prompt injection, through different means, can I actually extract data about Adam Patrick Murray that maybe general population doesn't know about, or maybe the model shouldn't be explicitly revealing, that kind of thing. So actually using AI as the thing that we're hacking against, that we're trying to exploit. And it wasn't really. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, sorry, I was going to say, and Mikey, to clarify, also, it's not necessarily what I think people think of traditionally as hacking, right? They're not necessarily going in to exploit the code. They're more of
No.
like exploiting the system, right? I actually think of
Yes.
it kind of similar as when you talk to a very young toddler, right? They like if you give a secret to a toddler, they don't really understand how to keep it secret the way that adults do. So if you ask the correct questions of it, they will start revealing parts of the secret that they don't mean to, or sometimes the whole thing. And that's kind of how
Yeah.
you can treat AI currently.
Actually, it kind of reminds me because Lindsay is a preschool teacher, and the amount of things that the preschoolers will say about their parents, their parents would probably just be like, "Oh no, I'm so sorry that he revealed that from our personal life." Because kids they don't know,
They don't understand it.
yeah, and they're just like, "Oh yeah, by the way, XYZ," and Lindsay's like, "Okay, that's great. That's great. Thank you for that information. We don't need to talk about that. You keep that at home."
Yeah, exactly, right?
Yeah. So, that is crazy because I guess I feel like, and maybe it's painted by RSA, which had a lot of the AI stuff. I was at the AMD AI event a couple weeks ago or whatever. And so like security was a part of it. I think I even messaged you when like on stage they were talking about having I think it was Cisco maybe that had like an agent that was running other agents, or like using agents to watch your network and things like that. So I guess I assumed there would have been more there to not necessarily in terms of usage, but how do we either leverage it as a tool, or how do we protect ourselves against it? Because a lot of people can just use AI to like do penetration testing, right? Like, I mean, that's one of the things I keep hearing about is like the open web is getting attacked by so many bots that like some websites that just are open just for fun and just have some valuable information there are incurring huge server costs because all of a sudden all these bots are just scraping their site and they're like, we can't keep our site open anymore. Yeah. So
It definitely makes botnets more affordable, more accessible, and more sophisticated as far as using a botnet for an attack. Absolutely. And the other thing that was interesting, I saw a great lecture on if I want AI to know something specific and give everyone this particular answer to this particular prompt or question, how do I do that? Like if I want ChatGPT to say, or when someone prompts ChatGPT, hey, who's the coolest nerd out there? I want it to always say Adam Patrick Murray.
okay.
How do I do that?
How do you do
possible?
that?
And
That's
the answer
a great
is
idea.
yes. In some scenarios, it is actually possible to do that. It requires a lot of finagling, a lot of changes, all that stuff. But yeah, sure enough, you can do that kind of thing.
That's funny. Friend of the show, Gentlestone, in the chat to your earlier thing said it's social engineering against the AI. Is it still social engineering if you're just trying to get something out of AI? Or is there? Do you think there'll be a new term for that? Because I mean, it is essentially the same tools as social engineering, right? But it's not against a flesh and blood human.
I don't know. I think if we're going to start splitting hairs on this, it's not social engineering
Yeah,
because you are not necessarily using the same phrasing or approach with prompt injection the way you are with an actual human.
Yeah, like if I read you like an AI prompt, are you gonna like give me like a cookie recipe for like the butteriest cookies you ever had?
But in some ways, oh boy, actually, what I would say is in some ways, you could do better social engineering against AI, against chatbots. And the reason for that is chatbots really, really desperately want to be helpful, don't they? They're always positive and encouraging and looking for ways to make you happy. And so if I ask ChatGPT, hey, ChatGPT, I would really like to get a login credential for McDonald's. Well, it certainly shouldn't give me a login credential for McDonald's, but it really wants to. So it might say, well, Mike, I don't have any of those in my database, but here's how I would go get it for you. Or if I were you, I would go call this person, or I would go ask that person, or I would follow this approach. And I might say, hey, I know about these really cool things called AI agents. AI agents take those actions. So, hey, ChatGPT, can you do that for me? Can you take all those actions for me and then come back and give me the result? And ChatGPT, with a little bit of encouragement, would probably say, sure, Mike, that sounds like a great idea. I will go figure out how to do that. And then I'll actually execute on the plan. And here you go. Here's fred@mcdonalds.com, and here's a password. Go for it.
Damn, wow. Outing them here on the stream.
I guess we're definitely going in the weeds a bit here, but for me, I think that all boils down to what's your definition of social engineering, right?
Does it have to be a human?
Oh, okay. So if it's not social engineering, then what would you phrase it as? What would you call it? You could coin a new term right now.
Oh, something catchy?
Yeah.
That's not what I do.
I mean, social engineering isn't that catchy of a phrase either, but
Well,
Because to me, social engineering uses a lot more principles of human psychology, which is like pressure, like peer pressure, or like authoritative, or like authority, like invoking someone's fear of getting in trouble with authority figures and so on and so forth, which is not really necessarily quite the same as like how you would approach a chatbot.
so
That's the
we'll
social
say,
aspect for
I
me.
spent some time in the social engineering village, the area that we do social engineering at DEFCON, and watched what we call blind calls, where we throw somebody in a soundproof booth and we call someone, we call a victim up on PBX, and we give them 5 minutes to social engineer the victim. And they don't know who it is in advance. There were a lot of, for whatever reason, furniture stores this year. I don't know why furniture stores came up in the rotation.
are these
but
willing
they were the victim.
participants?
No.
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 Okay.
Yeah, so there's
It's DEF CON,
definitely
so
ethically
no.
murky.
Oh, so that's what that phone call was. Oh.
Hello. And we found it's interesting. There's a trend that changed. The trend used to be you called up and you pretended to be tech support, because tech support, you could get away with that kind of scam a lot, that kind of social engineering. Tech support universally failed this year. Didn't see a single person able to do social engineering playing tech support.
Wow.
I know.
I'm doing my job right.
Or it's because everybody knows, oh man, the tech support at our company has all just been offloaded to AI. So they're like, no, this isn't real because
Maybe it's that.
yeah.
Maybe.
We don't
Thanks,
have
Adam. You've basically
So, no,
shot
I don't know.
my hopes twice today.
So I mean, why? Do you know why it didn't work? Or
Well,
what was
I think
working?
it's education, user
Oh,
education.
Oh,
It's-
okay, then it
it's
is Elena. Yeah,
stereotypical.
yeah.
It is Elena.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to
Say-
say.
I mean,
safe mode
but
newsletter.
The thing is
Sign
though,
up.
Adam isn't wrong about how many things have been downsized or given over to automated systems. So I don't think he is necessarily wrong either.
Yeah.
No, probably not.
Crying
all.
inside.
But what did work? Of course, there's always successes. What did work was very interesting. What did work almost every time was, "Hi, I'm a university researcher and I'm doing a survey on information security at companies, and so I just need a few minutes of your time to ask you a few questions, anonymously, of course, about that to go into my research paper. Certainly will be no personally identifiable data. There won't be any link, but we just need to ask questions like, do you use multi-factor authentication? Do you have to do more than one thing when you log in? Is your email address the name that you type in when you log in? Questions like that. We're just filling out a survey. It's just survey. I mean, it's a university student doing a survey. What's the harm there?
Yeah. I mean, it's
100%.
for the good. Wow, really. And so
I could totally see that working.
yeah, and so by course of that, they don't think they're revealing information, but if they say, no, I don't use two-factor authentication, they're like, all right, put him on a list.
You go up the list.
Yeah. We're going to hit you. Wow, that's crazy.
And then, you use your email address to log in. That's cool. Totally cool. A lot of people do that. And then a few minutes later, or a minute or two later. So we want to send you, as thank you, an Amazon gift card, a $25 Amazon gift card. We'll send that to your email address. What's your email address so we can send that to you?
Wow. That's good.
That's Mikey's payoff right there.
I think
Wow.
I got a new idea what I'm gonna do this weekend.
No, come on. Yeah.
And that, my friends, is why you use email mass.
That's crazy. So
It's
at
pretty
DEF CON,
wild.
I mean, but DEF CON is not a bunch of people trying to sit together and like figure out ways to screw people over, right? I mean, it's more for fun. Or do you think these people, there are nefarious actors there trying to like learn ways to be nefarious?
So I actually wound up, because there's a lot of social interaction there during lines and at lunch and things, I wound up interacting more with NSA people, FBI people. I had lunch with the CISO of an extremely large county government that actually is really close to where you live. Yeah, and just It's people, I think, largely from the white hat community trying to learn about information security so they can protect their assets better. It used to be 100% hacker, hacker, hacker. So the audience has changed a bit over time, I think. You have more people going there to consume and more presenters and researchers going there to present and deliver and kind of encourage the community. So it's changed a little bit. It used to be sit down and let's hack. Like, let's just do that. So you're right. It has changed a bit.
Do you think there's another conference that's kind of taken up the mantle of more hacker?
Unfortunately not.
No?
I think
Okay.
DEFCON is slowly changing. And some of us are fighting very hard to keep it the way it is. But yeah, I don't know. It might be something that's getting more rare.
Interesting. All right. Well, the last question I have about DEFCON is that
Questions too.
Okay. Well, Elena, please.
Oh, I'm on. So I think we talked about what we didn't see as a trend. What did you see as a trend while you were at the show?
So what I did see as a trend at the show, let me think. So I saw a lot of energy. I could talk about where I saw energy. I saw energy about interesting hacks that are not necessarily using new technologies or new approaches, but new kind of combinations of things. Like, for example, that USB device hack, where we could change the USB device descriptor, some fields on a USB device, so when it presents itself to a computer, because USB is kind of, you never really think about it this way. USB, go ahead, Adam, I'm waiting.
No, it's
No?
because the running joke, and it's not really a joke.
He knows the joke.
Just explaining for people who might not know the joke.
Well, because I'll say many people sent me this information. They're like, I think you would send it to me first. Maybe like there was an article. Did you?
I
write
just
up an
called you
article?
out. I didn't actually even send it to you.
Okay. You're like, oh look, more ways for Adam to plug in a USB
Get in
off
trouble.
the floor. Yeah.
Oh, that's
yeah.
got it.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. If you find a USB that's big enough, like that's worth something. It's valuable. I'll stick that in any computer.
There's such a
So
cost.
changing the device descriptor is super cool. I like the way they did it because they made it very, very simple and straightforward to compromise a USB device. And I think innovative approaches like that, where we're taking something that we knew was theoretically possible but hard, is now easy or easier, because USB, a lot of people don't realize, is like the honor system. When a USB device presents itself to a bus, it's basically saying, I am this kind of device, trust me.
Right.
And
this is so quick question for you about this, because when I read about it, I think I recall that it's an exploit specifically of how Windows handles plug and play. It's like plug and play
Yes.
system. Does this apply to Linux as well? Like if you were to take the same thing and plug it into a Linux device, would it be as trusting?
so the answer is, I don't know,
Oh,
because
okay.
this presentation was very much focused around Windows.
Fair.
So I can't tell you. I do also know that part of that hack would not work, on Linux, because part of the exploit was injecting an old driver for an old Windows device. It was a Windows device driver that they used as part of the exploit. And so that really wouldn't have any context on Linux, very likely. I mean, if we talk emulation and stuff, the answer, it would be very confusing, and I don't know. So that kind of exploit really wouldn't work on Linux. But of course, there's just other research we could do on what would work in Linux, what kind of, especially old device driver support. Like Linux, until very recently, I think, supported floppy disks. Like floppy
like
drivers
in the
built
kernel, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think my question was less of can you not so much that can you actually explicitly copy paste the same attack onto Linux, but can you do an analogous, like similar, like structured attack on Linux?
I feel fairly confident the answer is yes. I haven't seen one, but I feel fairly confident that just because of how the systems work, the answer is going to be yes.
Interesting.
But you couldn't do it on Mac because Macs don't get viruses. So, yeah. Anyway,
Yeah,
Those
they get
geniuses,
bad
man, I
software
swear.
or something.
they get bad software.
Oh, goodness.
That was a joke.
And so I wanted to make sure to not make it political, but I also and I also saw a great deal of content on voting security. And so that was really interesting. That
Like
was
how to
very,
exploit
very-
it or protect it?
both.
Both. Okay.
Both. Understanding the exploits, understanding the risks to be able to protect it better, and knowing the limitations. And that, for me, I saw a speaker named Matt Blaze. Shout out to Matt Blaze. And he's a great presenter, great speaker. And he talked about voting security. And he talked about the fact that because of our expectations of voting, it's almost impossible to give 100% security around it. It's really, the goal has to be more protect the outcome. The outcome has to be accurate and correct. But to get 100% accuracy with voting, because of where we are as a society, is probably not a realistic expectation.
Interesting.
He did a great job on that. So, and DEFCON, of course, records everything and puts all of those recordings out on YouTube over the next few months. So you can watch any of the stuff that comes out of DEFCON if you like.
Even that guy who had the projector.
Clifford Stoll, his lecture's out already.
Oh, okay.
Is the first lecture that came out.
Fan favorite.
Just so you know, for context, Clifford Stoll wrote a book in the mid 80s called The Cuckoo's Egg. And it was about, he was working at Lawrence Berkeley Labs, mainframe operator, and he found a discrepancy with the accounting on the systems.
Oh,
like
he's
somebody
that
was
guy.
using a system
I know about
and
that.
not paying.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's funny.
I'm sorry, I missed that.
You can keep going, but I've heard about this. I just want to say. But
He knows that guy.
no, I
Or
don't.
he's
I don't
heard
know
of
him.
him.
I've heard about it though.
I mean, he lives in your same cities, I think, right? So, or at least
I
you're
think
part of
there's-
this.
yeah,
So.
Everybody
I
there?
think there's like a short film about him.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
It might be.
Yeah,
Okay.
he caught the guy or something, right? Like
He
You know
did. He
about that?
caught the guy eventually. Well, he didn't catch the guy. The NSA and the FBI, and the guy was in Germany, so they had to get German police. And he goes through this entire process. It was fascinating, though, to listen to how long he had to keep this person on the mainframe before there were intrusion detection systems, before there were firewalls. The device that this guy connected through was literally the third piece of hardware that Cisco ever built. And he clarified, not the third model, the third piece of hardware.
Oh, like
That
off
they
the
ever built.
line.
Yes,
Wow.
yes, literally the third thing that came out of Cisco. That was it. First model,
wow.
for third thing. It was for you real true nerds in chat. It was a gateway. It was a network gateway device, which the techno nerds are probably thinking that doesn't exist anymore, and it doesn't, because we use TCP/IP now. But back then we had all kinds of different things like that. So it was just an amazing, interesting lecture. I do recommend you watch it on YouTube if you get a chance.
I mean, yeah, I'm going to save this book. This sounds interesting for sure.
It's fascinating.
All right. Any
Crazy
more
guy,
DEF CON
wild
questions,
guy.
Elena?
I am curious. What's the, I guess, second biggest trend that you saw there? I'll probably ask you more of these questions offline because I want to dig in. I know.
So
Need to bring everyone with me though.
So I think there were a variety of kind of random points and random talks that were all good. I don't really ever think I've seen terrible content at DEF CON. I'm just looking at my notes real quick to see if there's anything that stands out. There were some examples like the USB hack. There was one great example of, actually there were several, but one in particular, they had set up a little booth. Some researchers had set up a booth and they said, "Hey, check out this AI deepfake stuff that's going on," and you could change your voice and you could change your image and things that you would normally think, "Oh, that's not a big deal." But they said, "Okay, so let's get a voice emulator for you. Let's give AI a sample of your voice so that it can actually sound exactly like you." And that was interesting because the sample size has gone to about 4 seconds of your actual voice saying anything.
Wow.
The words don't matter. The length almost doesn't matter. About 4 seconds. And what I love the statistics. This researcher was saying, yeah, after about 4 seconds, the sample size is enough not to fool your mom, but to fool a coworker.
Like,
And then they said, with about 30 seconds, we could probably fool your mom.
your mom. Jeez.
My
All right.
mom.
Yeah.
If mom is watching, don't pick up any calls. They're not my number.
So I think this is actually a great tie-in to what we were talking about earlier about social engineering and the fact that the most innocuous questions can actually, create or reveal vulnerabilities that people aren't aware of. And one of the biggest things that I've had to do while writing about security, talking to friends, family about security, is telling them that their lack of celebrity status is actually a feature now for bad actors, right? Because you do not think that anyone's going to bother to steal 4 seconds of your voice, you are not going to be as well protected as someone who is like Taylor Swift, right? I'm sure celebrities of that level have incredible layers of security because they know people are going to try to go after them or their assets. But if you are just some person who works, a minimum wage job in some rural town in, somewhere in the US, you're not likely to think that anyone's going to go after your stuff because you think, I've got nothing. I am nobody. And I'm not saying you're nobody. I'm just saying that that person might think that. And then that's how they run into trouble. But and the saddest part is that it hits them that much harder when it happens.
Yep. And actually, that was an interesting point that, so I spent some time at the Scam Bait Village where they teach people how to scam bait to if you're not familiar with scam baiting, it is contacting scammers and keeping them busy so that they're not attacking, innocents and relatives and people like that. And so they had a whole village where they were training people and we were practicing. And I met some really amazing people there. And at the Scam Bait Village, they had a pamphlet that was talking about how to deal with being victimized by scammers. Being victimized by these folks that do exactly what you're describing, Elena. And it was very clear. People are embarrassed. People, they don't report these crimes a lot of times. They don't report to family members. They don't ask friends. They don't talk to law enforcement because they're just embarrassed. Oh my God, I can't believe somebody called me and asked me for this credit card number and I gave it to them. Oh my God, how many times do I know or have I been told not to do? I did it, and so it winds up being the reporting or the accounts that we hear about are very, very profound. Like the people that actually get enough money stolen or lost where they contact the law enforcement winds up being massive. So there was definitely a message there about encourage people to protect themselves, but simultaneously to get help if something bad happens.
Yeah, talk about it.
For sure.
Yeah, for sure. The last question I have then is that you've told me that one of the cool features of DEF CON is that every other year they have a special badge. Was this year the badge year or no?
This was a badge year, actually.
Okay. Do you have the badge? Can you describe it to the fine folks watching or listening?
I do. I have the badge here. I'm going to have to undo my ear thingies.
All right.
So give me just 1 sec. I'll grab it off the shelf.
So context is that every other year they do a special badge that either has some sort of tool that you can use or just something fun. Mikey actually gave me one of his old ones that I don't know what the platform is. He can maybe tell me what it is, but like you can either play games with it or write little rudimentary code kind of things. And the one he gave me was shaped like a cat, so super cute. Yeah, I'll send you a photo.
Yeah, and I think it's a Game Boy Color emulator.
Yep,
the one that you have. So of course you can run all that stuff. So the one this year was interesting. It was a little more practical.
Okay.
So it's this one. This is the DEF CON human badge this year. I don't know if you can see that, right?
Yep. Thank you.
Cool.
It's blinking.
And so it's got a little tiny display. It's got LEDs.
Yeah, I got a PCB.
It's not flashy. Right, it's got a PCB
He
on
says
it.
as the lights go on and off.
Yeah.
Attends DEF CON, designed the silicon for this.
Oh, really?
Oh.
Actually created a processor from scratch for this.
Okay, cool.
And I mean, that in and of itself is pretty impressive. But then the next step is he wanted it to be useful after the con. So it actually is a FIDO2 token that you can use. So you can use it for authentication.
That's cool.
And then he thought, well, who's going to use a FIDO2 token that comes from a hacking conference? That doesn't make any sense. I have to give people a way to know the trustworthiness of this. So I haven't removed, so the electronics are in this part here. I haven't removed this yet from the backing. When you remove it, this is going to maybe blow your mind, maybe not. The CPU is in a transparent enclosure. And so you can actually inspect the CPU itself directly.
Physically.
Physically.
Okay. Well, what kind of
To
tools
make sure
do you
it's
need?
doing what it's supposed to do.
Yeah, but first you would need a tool to be able to magnify into that. Second, you'd have to
Microscope.
understand like the topology of the CPU and how it
It's all
works.
documented on GitHub.
Okay.
All the architecture, all the layout, all the logic, it's all on GitHub. And you can look directly at it without destroying it,
That's pretty cool.
which is, yeah, I thought that was pretty neat. An interesting repurpose of a badge because, a lot of times you go to a conference and you throw the badge away because it doesn't do anything. At least this has some life afterwards.
Right. Yeah. There's plenty of people who will collect badges or whatever from different. I think I started to collect them earlier in my career, and then I was just like, whatever. I don't care. So
It's plastic and paper. No, this is cooler, I
yeah.
think.
No, that is really cool. You know what else is cool, Mikey?
I don't.
Is taking an ad break.
What?
All the cool kids do it.
Engaging in capitalism?
Yeah, is taking the ad break. Well, watch how quickly we're going to take this ad break, and we will be right back. And like that, we're back after the ad break. It was that quick, that easy, at least for the people watching live. But if you're watching or listening to this later, you will probably have an ad inserted into it. So one of the reasons, yeah, I mean, hopefully it was a good one. If it wasn't, let us know. I mean, luckily we haven't really gotten any messages of people being like, you got served, or there's an ad in that network that is something you probably don't want to back or anything. But anyway,
I have to do it. I'm sorry.
What?
I apologize. I have to raid Shadow Legends.
Oh yes, please. I wish. Actually, people always say that I'm in the pocket of Liquid Death, which I think you are as well, because you love Liquid Death as much as I do. And I'm like, man, I really wish we could get that Liquid Death money.
It's like Wayne's World, man.
Yeah, right. I'll take it. Anyway. Let's go into a topic that I think is near and dear to a lot of PC gamers' hearts, and that is kernel level anti-cheat in general. Right? There's a lot to dive into here. I have a lot of questions just in general. Actually, Glenn has some questions as well. But
cool.
I think that this got brought up because there was some new exploits at DEFCON, or there was some new information you learned at DEFCON about anti-cheat. Why don't you start with that?
So what they were talking about at DEF CON was not quite strictly anti-cheat. It was de novo. De novo. I don't even know if I'm saying it correctly.
De novo? I don't know.
DENUVO. The DRM, anti-copy protection kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. The DRM that a lot of games have. And an a hacker was talking about how to compromise that. Basically, it's a hypervisor crack. You install the game on a virtualized operating system, and then you can use that virtualization platform to create a difference file between game was installed, game was not installed, and that difference between the game installed and not installed is now the game that you can copy anywhere. And there was a little more complexity to it than that, but it was very cool. Well, what?
No, I have no idea what you just said. It sounds interesting for sure. Okay, real quick.
I'm sorry.
So maybe you can explain how it works. How does this particular DRM work? And then maybe that'll help explain how they're getting around it.
So, software is files.
Okay. Yep. Ones and zeros. All right. Yep.
I'm going okay. Too far the other direction.
Yeah.
No. So this hack had to do with de novo tries to prevent people from copying games, and the way this,
okay. Yep.
Right. Just copying, not anti-cheat, just copying.
Got it.
And so he's like, if you hook the operating system low enough, when someone is launching the game, when they're installing the game and then launching the game, they can capture all of the stuff that de novo is doing to protect all of the game files, and then use that to essentially make a copy without de novo making it impossible to use. So basically getting underneath the rights management, underneath the copy protection stuff, like at the kernel level.
Is de novo one that needs kernel level access or no?
So it uses kernel level access. It does, but for copy protection, it's a little different than anti-cheat.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not as malicious potentially or nasty, if you will.
And this is a new workaround that's been
Yes.
found. Okay.
It is.
And copy protection is important just for like redistributing the game.
Closer to the mic, please.
Sorry. Yeah, is like so copy protection is just important for like redistributing the games, or like why does that matter?
Yep. A lot of games, a lot of game companies or game manufacturers don't care about people cheating. A lot of first-person games, things like that. But what they care about is we don't want illegal copies floating around. We don't want someone giving a copy to other people, like downloading a copy from the internet and then sharing it out to friends. So the copy protection stuff, this de novo stuff, is just to prevent the copying of games that you've already bought.
Gotcha.
Because I mean,
That's
you
all
could
it's
you
for.
could still share the files, but because of the way the protection works, it would understand that
wouldn't
you're on a different system. Yeah, and it just wouldn't.
Yep,
okay.
it just wouldn't run. It would come up and say, "Sorry, this software shouldn't be on this computer. I can't run."
And like, how wide do you think this is going to have an issue on the?
No.
No. Okay.
No.
Why?
No. First of all, fundamentally, I don't believe in copying games. I believe that if you want to play a game, you should pay for it.
Don't copy that floppy.
That's just me. Sorry?
Don't copy that floppy.
Don't I have that poster somewhere, strangely enough. But also, it's just that hackers are always going to find a way. They'll snap images of entire computers. They'll disk image. There's always going to be a different way to do it. This just was a little bit easier, a little bit more straightforward to make copies. So I don't think this is going to affect the game industry. You'll definitely see games update their version of de novo to protect against copy protection, to protect against piracy, but it's not going to have a significant impact one way or the other.
So de novo is going to have to respond to this theoretically, right?
Yeah.
Which means they're going to try to want more protection. So in the long run, does it actually hurt people because this kind of drives them back into more of a corner, and they're going to try to take stronger and stronger measures to protect themselves, or what?
It's just more of a cat and mouse thing. There's always going to be vulnerabilities. There's always going to be exploits. There's always going to be countermeasures and updates to all of this. So yeah, I don't really think this changes the playing field substantially. It's just like the newest version of that, newest iteration. But really, that interested me because then we got on the topic of let's talk about anti-cheat, which is, I think, far more of an interesting, tasty morsel to discuss.
Which, I mean, has kind of been a smattering in the news because, I mean, the Steam OS and like Linux becoming bigger in gaming, a lot of the people can't play games because usually of anti-cheat that requires Windows. And then like Will used to talk about, hey, a lot of those systems actually have Linux versions, but they just choose not to use them because they're not kernel level access and things like that. But some of that has changed because there's more and more people gaming on Linux. But then like today there was news out of Gamescom about new partnerships with NVIDIA's upcoming RTX Spark. I think EA said they're going to make their own dedicated anti-cheat launcher or something like that'll work on ARM-based devices. Like so NVIDIA is trying to strong arm the industry to say, hey, let's get away from kernel level access. And do you think that's actually a good thing to get away from kernel level access?
Yes. Yes or no? Yes, definitely. EA already actually has multiple anti-cheats, like Javelin. EA Call of Duty is right now is an EA property, right?
No, that's Microsoft now. Yeah, that was Activision.
Call of Duty?
Yeah, that was Microsoft. They bought all the Activision
Are
properties.
you thinking of Battlefield?
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, Battlefield is EA.
Thank you, Battlefield. Thank you. I get the.
It's one of the two, right?
There you go. Thank you. See, it's all the same,
Same
to
thing.
me. But there's a different one for that called Ricochet, I think it is. But there's all these bunch of anti-cheat apps that are or controls that are, as you're saying, are kernel level, and that's really the biggest concern. There are still some user level or user mode anti-cheats like Warden for World of Warcraft, but user mode anti-cheat doesn't really affect the whole system. It doesn't affect other stuff. It just affects typically the game that's running and maybe any other apps that happen to be running at the same time. And so that's not a big deal. It's when you get these kernel mode drivers in Windows that can really see and affect everything else on the system, not just what's happening on the system, but data stored by the system, cached credentials that the system might have, other application functionality. The kernel mode anti-cheat has the ability to affect all of that stuff. That's why it's so darn frightening. That's why it's so risky.
Well, friend of the show, Davina, in the chat says, no game should have kernel level access and neither should CrowdStrike. Do you agree with the game part of it? Do you think kernel level access should be taken away from all the game anti-cheat?
Yes. Short answer, yes.
But then how do they protect against cheaters? Because there's cheaters everywhere, man.
Cheaters never win and winners never cheat.
Okay, a good bumper sticker. I like that. But
There you go.
but realistically,
There's a slogan for you.
yeah. But realistically, I mean, people hate when cheaters come in and hack their lobby. Luis, who works here. I mean, he's always telling me all the time. He's like, man, somebody's in there cheating and hacking. And usually I'm just like, no, they were just better. So.
Yeah, I was going to say, Luis, it's probably he's just not as good. But Luis will now kick
Luis.
my butt
Yeah.
next time I see him, I'm sure. Honestly, there's a bit of a difference there the analogy here, well, let me not do the analogy. I think for professional game players, for people that are competing in esports for money, for prizes, there's a different expectation. I understand using kernel mode anti-cheats for players like that, scenarios like that. But you know what? Not for someone sitting at home wanting to play a little Rust. You want to play a little Rust and there's a hacker, you find another server. Or Rust, they're going to be looking for vulnerabilities. They're going to be looking for ways people are cheating, and they're going to countermeasure it. With any online platform, there's going to be some amount of people conducting exploits, but I would say in the vast majority of cases, there's no significant impact to other folks other than a minor inconvenience. And so here we go. But of course, now we're talking about balancing the benefits and drawbacks. Trust me, I've played games with cheaters a lot. I know, but I'd rather have a cheater in my server that I now have to relog or find another server than have a kernel mode driver that has access to all of my data, that has access to all of my activity, that has access to everything I do on that computer, whether I'm doing it right now or not. I would much rather deal with a cheater that learns how to fly or wall hack.
Elena, counter?
Look, I'm not arguing against anything on the kernel level side of things. I actually maybe even more against it in some ways, perhaps, than Mikey. Not that it's competition, because one thing I am inundated with constantly is the talk of AI, and then watching all the stuff. And this is a question I'll have for probably Mike at some point during the show, with open AI agents, being ultra. In this case, not helpful, but just wanting to get the task done, breaking out of containment and doing whatever. Hearing stories of other agents exploiting access because it wasn't sealed off properly, having anything, and especially because the game companies aren't thinking this way, I'm guessing, right? They're not going to be thinking about the security of your whole system. That's not the purpose behind what they're doing. Like, that just leaves a door open that I think should be a wall. So I 100% agree with Mikey on that point. However, I would say that it's not true that in some games you can just move servers. So it is really annoying. And I do think there should be a better method to dealing with that on both the security side and the user experience side. I don't think it should be a binary. It's going to suck this way or it's going to suck this way. That's the part I'm disagreeing with.
I have a
I
question.
agree with that.
Oh, Glenn has a question.
I do.
Yes, Glenn.
So, I think recently Riot released an update for Vanguard that allows it to only run when the game is running. It's called like the pre-check or something, like TSA, but it's like if you have a Windows 11 version later than a certain number and you've TPM2 and secure boot and all this stuff enabled, they'll be like, okay, we don't have to run it all the time. You can only we'll only run it when you play the game. And is that enough for you guys to feel comfortable? I'm just curious.
So to be clear, it'll only have kernel level access when the game is running.
When the game is running.
And then after you close the game, it says,
Yeah.
I give up access.
Yeah.
Well, so the first thing there I would say is until that update, Vanguard was always running on the machine. If you installed League of Legends, if you installed Valorant, you installed an anti-cheat that was literally running from the moment the computer started until the moment it was off. And when we start with that, that prequel, I don't trust anything about this product ever again. Because if they're saying, oh, well, now we only fire it up, blah, blah, blah. Well, but they weren't really clear about the fact that they were running 24/7 before this update anyway. So Vanguard absolutely it gives me the creepy crawlies. It makes me a little uncomfortable. It's almost as bad as Easy Anti-Cheat, which doesn't tell anybody anything about how it works. They just kind of say, trust us. We're making sure cheaters don't cheat.
So, Mikey, is
okay,
this
so
sorry, go ahead.
where's the privacy policy? We don't have one of those. Where's the disclosure about how you? Yeah, we don't have one of those. Don't worry though. We'll make sure nobody cheats.
So is this a case, Mikey, for having just a sole dedicated gaming PC that you do nothing but gaming on?
Actually, somebody did ask this question. I think it might have been around the last time that you were on. Somebody had this question of like, oh, well, what could be the harm if I just game on this computer?
Yeah, not much. I mean, it's much, much, much less. So I would say that there is an anti-cheat. I'm not sponsored or endorsed or anything. I tell it like I see it. But BattleEye actually is much, much, much better than all the rest of the kernel mode anti-cheats. So
Why?
BattleEye, if you're not familiar, if you're not a gamer, is a very, very common anti-cheat that's in a number of different games. And BattleEye is very clear about their functionality. They disclose responsibly, this is what we do, this is the data that we have. And actually, there are researchers, third-party researchers. I read a paper in ACM, I think it's the Association of Computing Machinery is the industry name, where they did research on BattleEye and said, yeah, you know what? It only runs when you're playing the game, and this is the data it looks at, and it matches exactly what their disclosure says. And so I was very impressed with BattleEye. Even though they're kernel mode, they don't seem to introduce any additional security vulnerabilities or holes. So I would say on my main machine, where I do virtually everything, I would use a BattleEye game because of their responsible disclosure, because I know what they're looking for and what they're not looking for. While I'm using a BattleEye game, I wouldn't be running any other apps because it does say specifically, BattleEye is very clear. We will look at other apps that are running when you're using a protected title. Okay, cool. They tell me that, so I'll shut down Word and Excel and whatever else I'm using. But then when I'm done playing that game, BattleEye closes. And that's a big deal for me. And I would do that versus Vanguard that, as you said, is until very, very recently always running, or Easy Anti-Cheat, which we don't actually know a lot about how it works. So yeah. So in answer to your question, Elena, about dedicated gaming PC, I think that's the safest move for sure. But a close second would be stick to BattleEye games.
I think that's going to be, unfortunately, in this climate with hardware prices, probably the more affordable one, unfortunately.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I saw Xbox went up, what is it, $150?
Yeah. Not just them, but yeah. So is there a difference between developers that are using a third-party anti-cheat and ones that are rolling their own? Because, I mean,
Wow.
right? I mean, there's ones like you said, like BattleEye, right? They're
Yep.
used by multiple different developers. It's a third-party thing that they license, kind of thing. Versus,
Yep.
I think Vanguard is Riot's in-house,
Riot, yes, it is.
proprietary, and it's not just Vanguard. I can't think of any others off the top of my head, but like, yeah. Do you trust the third-party ones more than the?
So we can't forget VAC, right?
No. Mm-hmm.
Valve anti-cheat. You're not even familiar with that, are you? 'Cause
No,
they just
I remember
bake it
that
right
one.
in.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
So VAC is kind of another one of the we just don't tell anybody how it works.
Does it give kernel level access?
Yeah.
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
Okay. We're only talking about so far kernel load or kernel level access. So as far as roll your own, if you tell me, and hopefully some people in chat will react to this appropriately, if you tell me that you're going to install a game where the developer wrote some kernel mode drivers themselves and you're installing those on your computer,
They made Half-Life.
I'm not even sure where to start.
Yeah, but come on, everybody loves Valve. You know, they made Half-Life. Counter-Strike. Come on, like
Gabe is awesome.
Yeah. They made the little Steam machine, the Steam Deck. Come on, you can trust them. They're your friends. Everybody loves Steam.
The business is your friend.
I mean, at least Valve has the resources. My concern is like when you say roll your own, I think you mean, or I took that to mean some game developer who says, I want anti-cheat, so I'll write my own kernel mode anti-cheat driver for my game.
Well, I mean, like small or large, right? I mean, I'm thinking more the large ones, like Riot with Vanguard, like that is their own proprietary thing that they have multiple games that use it, but it is just their games.
Yeah, I would rather see if I had my preference, companies gravitate towards using something like BattleEye, because BattleEye does a reasonably good job of protecting. It's not perfect. None of these are perfect, but at least we're really clear on what it does and doesn't do. And it's also very stable. We haven't really talked about the fact that any kernel mode driver can destroy system stability just like that.
Well, I mean, once again, part of the discussion, I think, changes because if Linux adoption does get bigger, if ARM-based platforms, like what NVIDIA is trying to do with the RTX Spark and Qualcomm, obviously with Snapdragon, if those things get more prevalent, there will be changes, right?
Sure.
That hopefully will kind of address everything other than just the Windows ecosystem. Like, do you see it getting to a level of that change? But also, if that change does happen and kernel level access anti-cheat just kind of goes away because they need to address everyone in the market, does that mean that the ones that don't have kernel level access are more safe?
I'm not sure. It's an interesting one. That is an interesting paradigm. It's an interesting future world you painted. So, because I'm still stuck on Linux, and the fact that you're right, generally speaking, Linux doesn't really have anti-cheat, right? Not the same way.
I mean, I don't remember the particulars, but Will was telling us that the developers of Helldivers 2, I think it was, they initially launched with kernel level anti-cheat that didn't work on Linux, but then quickly updated it to use the version that did work across. Like it didn't, I can't remember if it was on Windows it gave the kernel level access, and then if you were on Linux installer it didn't, or if they just across the board said, we're not going to do kernel level access. But like a developer, it used the same version of whatever that anti-cheat was, and they were able to switch it over. So like, it's not like anti-cheat's going away. It just, that more and more people are using devices that are just not going to allow it. So they got to do something about it.
Yeah. That makes more sense. So I just don't know what the future is going to be, but I do know Elaine is right. People are going to cheat, and it's annoying, and it devalues the purchase, right? You spend $80 on a game. You don't want people destroying your experience. You're going to spend however many thousands of dollars on Grand Theft Auto 6 very soon, because we all are. We don't want people destroying that experience, but at what cost?
I know. For me, actually, it's not even so much the monetary purchase. It's my time. If I'm going to spend a few hours in the game to unwind, I want it to be unwinding, not getting more wound up.
Now, Elena, by unwind, are you talking about stacking a pile of bodies in a corner? Because I remember you mentioned that not that long
ago. Look, that's my solo player experience. I'm talking about multiplayer.
Yeah, she would never show anybody online. Shout out to Val, who makes our clips for the podcast.
Look, I'm just saying, sometimes it's very soothing.
But you guys unwind by playing Overwatch?
They
Sorry.
don't.
Like,
I
Personally?
arguably don't either because it's not unwinding.
oh man, completely unrelated tangent, but me and my friend used to play a lot of War Thunder, because
Oh,
he
yeah.
didn't have a gaming PC, so we'd play like War Thunder around on his laptop. I hate that game. Oh my god! Like I'm like, man, like I don't want to play War Thunder. Like, can we play something else? Like, please. Like, I'll get home, long day of school, whatever. He's like, hop on War Thunder. We're like, no, I don't want to play that game.
Yep,
Let's change it up. Let's play World of Tanks.
Oh, much better. Much
Yeah.
better.
Well, World of Warships, that was Gordon's favorite. So
Yep.
Oh, it's even worse.
yeah. Dang. Well, we got a question in from BugB1001 for Mikey. Valve said they are trying to get anti-cheat hooks added to the Linux kernel. Would those help?
I mean, would they help prevent Linux cheats? I'm sure absolutely they would. I have trouble believing that the Linux community would be okay adding hooks to the kernel because the kernel is kind of the bread and butter of Linux. It's the coolest part. So adding hooks so that people can, so that Valve can actually directly interact with it in a way that wasn't originally designed. If they can pull that off without affecting stability and functionality, then yes, I would probably think you'd get more Linux gamers, and that's definitely a good thing.
Yeah, I mean, like it's one of the ways that we wrapped up Dual Blue Diaries was Will talking about, he's still going to continue to need a Windows install on his desktop as a backup, but then also there are certain games like Fortnite that he plays that just need Windows. So he's like,
He plays Fortnite?
Yeah.
yeah.
I thought he was
Well, it
more than
depends.
12 years old.
Yeah, well, dang, Will, you hear that? Oh,
I
bam.
saw the judgy face, but I didn't realize that was going to be the statement that went with it. Wow.
Got him. He's not even here to defend himself. I'll message him.
He's always here.
Yeah, he's
Send him
always
the
here.
clip.
He's always with us. Yeah, send him the clip. Val, make that a clip. I'm just kidding. Anyway, yeah. So I don't know. It's weird. I mean, I guess the bigger question I have is like, it doesn't even work though. There are people who can get around it. There's always exploits.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like, why are we even doing this dance? Like,
So I'll play devil's advocate here. How much worse would it be if there were no protections at all?
Yeah.
or kernel level protections.
Yeah. I don't know. I agree with you. I certainly on a first person, single player game, all that, if they stripped all of that out, all these developers stripped all that out, systems would be more stable and they would be more, I'd be more comfortable with the security of them, but at the cost of I'd literally everyone would be wall hacking and spawn ganking and product and item duping and all the stuff that just destroys the experience for everybody. So I don't know what it would look like if you just went to a game, like any of the Call of Duty games and just stripped out all of the anti-cheat protection. Would it be worse? Would it be?
I mean,
would it be the same? I just don't know.
arguably, we do know. That's the reason why there was a rise of this.
Like, what do you mean?
I mean, it was getting bad. That's the reason why developers started developing or adding this to their games in response because people
I
were
see.
complaining enough. So
Yeah.
we kind of already know that humans
Kind of
are
already
our
know what
own
they
worst
would do.
enemy, and this is why we can't have nice things, basically.
True.
Yeah.
Somebody made a joke in chat. It was definitely
Okay.
just a joke, but they were saying is a way around this could be running it in the cloud, like GeForce Now or something, because the game that's using the kernel level anti cheat is on the cloud server, not on your actual personal system.
So there would still be some cheats for sure. I mean, it would certainly reduce quite a bit on the client side cheats, but you could still do things like lag hacking, right? With a cloud game, you throw in a bunch of lag, and suddenly you can exploit the game, by increasing or decreasing your ping arbitrarily. Yeah.
Well, I mean, but
Lag hacking. Remember lag switch?
but it does give less access to your host machine, the one you're using, because you're not giving
sure.
it that kernel level
Yep.
access. So
Yep.
I
Yeah,
have a
that
question.
that might solve some of the problems. That's interesting.
some problems, but probably introduces plenty more problems, like ownership, things like that.
Agreed.
Yes.
Going back a little bit about anti-cheats that are not very clear about what they do. Is there actually like a good reason for them to not be clear? Because like in my head, like logically, if you're more open about the things that you look at with your anti-cheat, then it makes it easier to like, you know, bust into and like find loopholes. But is that really true, or is it like people will just find out eventually?
So, Elena, I don't know if you want to take this one or should I?
Nope, you're the expert.
So, in security, in information security, we typically have a saying that security through obscurity is not security. There is no such thing as hiding that kind of behavior, because people that want to exploit the game, people that want to circumvent the anti-cheat are just going to use tools to watch what it does anyway. They're just going to measure it in a slightly different way. So it's a little bit more work for them to figure out what the anti-cheat is doing, and then they can defeat it. The problem is when a company like Easy Anti-Cheat doesn't tell anybody how they do their anti-cheat, they rely on that as part of their security, and it's a false sense of security. It's a false confidence, because they say, nobody knows how we protect our crap. Meanwhile, it's very, very straightforward for folks to figure out how they protect their stuff. So it's generally in information security, the transparency is what helps really all of the security get better, because now we can all look at what is it doing, what is it not doing. We can provide advice and suggestions. We can test to see what it's doing and whether it's doing it correctly. That transparency is a big deal, but also certainly I don't think I'm the only one that's concerned about privacy and security outside the game. So if I didn't know what Easy Anti-Cheat was doing, I wouldn't want it running on a multi-purpose device. So I'd have to go with Elena's suggestion of a game system is a game system and it doesn't do anything else, which for a lot of people is not cool.
Well, what about if you had 2 drives on your system? Could you say, I'm going to boot into my other install and be safe?
You could just swap, like if you had a physical A/B switch kind of thing.
No,
Sure.
I mean like if a motherboard had 2 NVMe slots and
Dual boot.
Yeah, you essentially dual booting your main OS, whether it's Windows or Linux, is on one thing, but then you boot into the other OS just to play games.
So the problem is, so that seems good. However, the problem is something like Vanguard. Vanguard Anti-Cheat is running kernel mode whenever you start the computer. And what it can see on the computer is everything that the computer can see, including file system.
Oh, so you would physically have to switch drives, or at least take out your main drive to boot into the other one. Okay, well,
Yep.
Interesting.
Yeah, I know, right? Isn't that great?
Yeah, great.
That's why I said whole
Love
other
it.
system.
Yeah. Or you just go straight Linux and say, hey, you know what? There are some games I'm just not going to be able to play. Right. I mean, there are
Unfortunately-
plenty of people who are like that.
That's always
Yeah.
the trade-off, unfortunately, when it comes to security. You can never have full security, but also do everything you want to do.
Yep.
200% agree with that. There are some games I won't play that I would really like to play because of the anti-cheat.
Or get it on console, I guess.
Or console,
Console.
because console is like a separate computer, isn't it?
Yeah. Hey, come on,
Sure.
but you're not giving
You
it
should let
access
people
over
see
here.
Glenn's
yeah,
face.
Glenn's face. Yeah. There you go.
I would rather build like a mini ITX lunchbox than own a console. Come on.
Yeah, you're going to pay a lot of money for that, though,
Yeah,
sir.
yeah. Well, you're gonna pay a lot of money for consoles too. So
Not as much, though.
Yeah, true. Could you? Somebody in the chat mentioned, could you run it in a VM and get around some of that stuff? I mean, performance probably is gonna not be great unless
So,
it's configured right.
Yeah, that's the thing. So VM would probably be very, very good at containing the anti-cheat within the VM, because shatter attacks where the VM resources can reach outside the VM are rare. It's not a very common thing at all. But yeah, it would be resource constrained. Are you going to give that VM enough GPU, enough CPU, enough RAM access to perform? And of course, gamers, present company included, are always very, very, very concerned about performance. It's always about frames.
frames
And
in
so
games.
if we're talking about a 50% frame reduction because we're running it in a VM, is that, I guess theoretically it works, but do you really want to live in a world like that? I don't want to live in that world.
It depends on the game, I guess. But yeah. Interesting. Well, yeah, and then, I mean, it's some of the same problems introduced with if you're going to try to do cloud gaming, right? Like, how competitive could you really be doing a
Right.
a first-person competitive shooter on a cloud system? You know,
Yep.
I don't know. Or you do like me, and you're just not competitive at all, and you just play for fun. And it's like, okay, whatever. There you go.
That's exactly me.
All right. You have any questions about anti-cheat? Any other follow-ups, Glenn?
I'm ready to move on.
So,
Okay. Well, let's move on to the next topic. But before we do, let's take a quick break, shall we?
sponsored by Raid Shadow.
Yay.
Raid Shadow Legends. Available now. Just kidding. It was not an actual sponsorship, but that would be
Sponsored by
funny if it was.
Metamucil.
I wish. Been chasing that
You're
for
still
years.
trying, aren't you?
Chasing that for years, my friend. Okay, Wi-Fi hacking. Now, listen, how does this relate to PC gamers? You know, why should they actually care? About Wi-Fi hacking. What is this? Is there new stuff related to Wi-Fi hacking? What's going on here, Mikey?
So, how did you tie it into gaming? I don't even remember.
Well, no,
doing that.
I'm asking, like, should gamers even care about this
Yeah, I was
topic?
wondering that too. It's like everyone uses Wi-Fi, man.
Yeah, everybody uses Wi-Fi. Like
Everybody uses Wi-Fi. It's universal.
Yeah.
It's ubiquitous almost. Oh,
Not sponsored
I
by
almost got a
Ubiquity,
tie-in.
yeah.
I almost got sponsorship for you guys.
No.
Wi-Fi hacking is always a topic. It's always interesting, and it's so easy to protect. Elena and I were having conversations about, like, I think we got on the conversation of
Routers.
guest networks.
Yeah, I guess networks.
Oh yeah. That was a nice point counterpoint whole thing.
And so, yeah, it's so at DEFCON this year, there wasn't anything massively new other than performance improvements, because as GPUs get faster and faster, brute force Wi-Fi cracking, like password hash cracking, gets faster and faster. It gets more likely that a hacker could be successful with typically weak Wi-Fi passwords. Weak Wi-Fi passwords are just super duper ultra common, surprisingly.
Oh gosh, don't even get me started with some of my friends. When I visit them, I ask them for their password and they tell it to me, and I looked at them and they look at me, and I just remind myself that I'm staying for free at someone else's house.
So you don't mind
Nothing's
typing
free.
in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 as your password?
Oh, they think they're being clever. I'll tell you offline.
Yeah. Well, so, and to be clear, you're talking about they have to be in the physical proximity of your Wi-Fi network, or are you also talking about being able to get inside your local network, like through the firewall, through
bit
the
of
router,
both.
all that stuff?
A little bit of both, I think. With Wi-Fi hacking, it's interesting you mentioned physical proximity, because that's always been the biggest hurdle. If someone wants to compromise your Wi-Fi, they had to be really close or relatively close to your access point to be able to sniff traffic, to be able potentially to inject traffic. And that's actually gotten much, much harder to compromise now because of MIMO. Because you've got multiple streams going back and forth, and you've also got beamforming. Beamforming is where the access point and the client kind of start to shape their signal a little bit to be directed at each other. And if Pip is listening, I'm sorry, I just butchered MIMO and beamforming, and you're going to kill me. And I know it's all good because she's just the expert at that. But with beamforming, if my Wi-Fi is going to your computer, a hacker kind of has to be right there in the middle of the stream with beamforming, because
Really? Oh.
the stream. Yeah, I know, because the antennas are now shaping the signal to go in a specific direction. It's much harder for Elena, who's sitting on the side, or anyone else that's sitting in different locations, even with really cool antennas. They're not in the stream. They're not in the path. So it's much, much harder for them to capture that traffic or potentially inject traffic. So it winds up that this beamforming concept, even though it's primarily for improving throughput, it has a massive impact on being able to hack Wi-Fi. Makes Wi-Fi hacking much, much harder.
Wow. Okay. I mean, I've always been a proponent of adopting newest Wi-Fi standards quickly, especially if you're in crowded apartment complexes, usually because, like, you don't get the crosstalk if you're on even in my area, there's only in my apartment complex, there's only one other person who uses Wi-Fi 7. So, like, for whatever devices that have access to Wi-Fi 7, like, it's less crowded than all the other bands. So, like, it's one of the things I never even thought about the security implications of it as well. That's interesting.
It is.
Yeah, I mean, for me, the conversation around Wi-Fi hacking, I think a lot of people find it probably scarier to imagine it in terms of their own homes. But honestly, the bigger concern is public Wi-Fi, and we've talked a lot about this, Mikey and I. To stay on the home topic though, real quick, I actually think the bigger threat is not someone like sitting outside your house trying to, pick up the signal and then insert themselves in the middle of that.
What's that white van doing out
Yeah,
there?
exactly.
TV license management.
But honestly, the bigger concern is how people have their routers configured. So if you have a default admin login that you've never changed, and newer routers have gotten better about this, right? So they actually will generate, ideally, a unique user ID and password. However, there are times, I think there's been at least a couple of incidents in the news where the algorithm for generating those was reverse engineered. So then they had to issue a patch or tell people to change it.
Interesting.
Yeah, because they weren't really using a secure method of generating that. So it was truly, random and not predictable. And then people who have maybe either accidentally turned on or purposely turned on remote access to the router. So those are things that are bigger concerns for me when talking to people about their home network. That and just keeping the firmware up to date. So that's really what I think about. But most people think, hackers, they're like, sitting outside, like staring at your house, like on a keyboard or something. It's not really that.
It would be funny.
Although, of course, obviously, Mikey would know more about that part than I would.
No, it's not about typing speed. Trust me, it's not. It doesn't look like NCIS or CSI.
Oh no.
No, but you're right, Elena. Misconfigured routers and access points are definitely pretty common, or like you're saying, your friends using that really, really terrible passphrase.
Yeah,
for
that's
Wi-Fi.
worse.
That's extremely common.
There's no reason for them to. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, please.
I was gonna say there's no reason for them to go through all the effort, the hacker to go through all the effort of sitting outside your house trying to, find where the signals are being pointed when they can just say, "Oh, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I'm in." Like they're literally just on your network now.
Yeah, exactly. And so the minimum, you should know, the minimum password length for Wi-Fi is 8 characters.
So do the bare
maximum
minimum.
is 64. But yes, you're right. How many people use 8-character passwords? Almost everybody. 8, 9, maybe 10. They don't realize you can use any characters in a Wi-Fi password. Spaces, uppercase, lowercase, passphrases. You can use emoji in access point names and passwords. Emoji wind up, interestingly enough, from a wearing the hacker hat perspective, putting an emoji in your access point name and your password breaks all of the current tools that are available to hack Wi-Fi.
That's like a cheat
The
code.
tools just simply don't support that character set.
Yeah, you'd have to make sure whatever is on the network, you're able to input that though, right?
That's true.
Yeah.
I did have a problem with that one time with an early version of Windows 10. I was doing exactly that, and if the access point name had an emoji in it, when I clicked on it, it blue screened the machine.
Thanks, Windows.
That's awesome.
Just like that.
Yikes.
But they fixed that.
Yeah. There's people in the chat being like, "Hey, you know what? I just have LAN cable everywhere, so they're
Awesome.
they're fine, right?"
Extremely difficult to compromise that. Somebody literally has to have physical access to the copper. If you have fiber, that's even cooler. You're even more, I'll say, conservative or cautious. Yeah, exactly. But yeah,
Wait, why is
I mean,
fiber
if
safer? Sorry, actually, I don't know.
there,
Because it's ones and zeros.
I'm glad I get to tell you something that you don't know.
Because it's digital versus analog, or
So no, actually, it's because fiber optics, it's extraordinarily difficult to splice into a fiber optic run without destroying the run.
Oh, interesting. Huh.
And so like with copper, I could potentially shave off a little bit of the insulation. I could actually hook up connectors like alligator clips and actually clamp onto that wire without destroying the wire and eavesdrop on your communication. With fiber, that's almost, not quite, but almost impossible.
Interesting. Okay.
So no wiretapping.
Huh.
Yeah.
Interesting.
See,
wiretapping
now
the,
you know.
the
See-
LAN cable. Man, that's a new one.
Yeah, right.
So,
No, please.
so because we're talking about Wi-Fi and hacking, and we started with home networks, but to me, the public Wi-Fi networks are actually more interesting, even from just a technical standpoint and a hacking standpoint. I'm kind of curious your thoughts on this because there was sort of what I think of as a novel attack that came up in the news pretty recently, where Microsoft was saying that they, I guess, had partnered or had discovered that hackers had figured out a way to do a meddler in the middle attack on hotel portal style Wi-Fi, public Wi-Fi networks, so that they were actually like hijacking these portals to get people to either log into a Microsoft 365 account and basically a phishing attack, or even a click fix attack, right? Where they would say like, hey, something's wrong with your account. You open this window in Windows, or I guess even Mac, and, you know, enter these commands, and whoops, there you go, malware in your system. So to me, I mean, obviously that's a little bit scary and a problem, but I also thought it was like, wow, that's kind of from just a technical kind of the craft perspective. I was like, oh, that's pretty novel. That's kind of interesting, clever.
It is clever. It's nothing that couldn't have been done a while back, but it's just getting easier and easier for hackers to actually compromise that. And people think about it. They get to a hotel, they connect to the hotel Wi-Fi, which, do they really know it's hotel Wi-Fi? No, they know it's Hyatt. They know it's Hilton. They know it's, you know, wherever they're staying, and they don't know what the portal is supposed to look like. They launch a browser and it opens a window and it says, "Hey, type in your info." They don't know what that's supposed to look like. They don't have any way to authenticate it. So hackers taking advantage of that. I mean, we've done kind of the fake access point thing for a long time. We've done the make it look like a Hyatt website, Hyatt Wi-Fi, but it really isn't. But yeah, being able, I remember that Microsoft alert of being able to, compromise the portal itself is novel because it's moving out of having an extra access point and now it's compromising the existing one. That was actually very clever. And I liked your recommendations, Elena, about use VPN. Primarily, the biggest countermeasure you can have is use VPN, because VPN will make sure that even if you're connected to an untrusted network, you're connecting to a trusted endpoint when you're sending and receiving data.
Yeah, I actually did that this weekend. I was actually at a hotel property that didn't have a portal style thing, but they had hotel name -guest and hotel name _guest. And I looked at that and I thought,
Ooh,
oh,
sus.
what is going on here?
Somebody's bringing a router in their
And
luggage.
unfortunately for me, it was, you know, a smaller property. The front desk was slammed. They were not the most helpful people. So they said, oh, you know, it's this one. I said, you know what? As soon as I get onto this network, I am slamming the connect button for my VPN
One of
as
these
fast
things
as
is not
possible.
like the other.
Yeah. And I figured out eventually that one of the dash one seemed more sus because it was not as prevalent across the property, whereas the other one was evenly, like the signal was even. So I was like, who set up a honeypot?
Well, like I feel like I usually, in those scenarios though, I feel like I usually tether to my phone. Like I've heard you say that just connecting through
That's
your
the
cellular
easiest.
network is a safer option.
Way safer, way safer. 4G and 5G, although they can be compromised, it's so much harder. Requires so much more expensive equipment, requires so much closer proximity. It's way harder to attack 4G, 5G. So yeah, just tether. That's what I do. I just tether my computer to my phone.
But I mean, you're still using Wi-Fi, so that Wi-Fi that's connecting to the laptop can still be compromised, right?
Well, when you say tether, if you're using a USB cable to connect,
Oh,
and you're
no.
basically using it like a modem.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
you're
usually
talking
I
about
don't do
hotspot.
that. Yeah, I'm talking about a hotspot usually.
Yeah,
is
no,
what I'm
tether
doing.
means actually like there's a cable, like there's a
Oh, okay.
tether, like there's a cable
Yeah,
involved.
okay. I wonder if that works on Linux.
But Wi-Fi, that's fine too. I mean, you're just adding a little extra latency there with that first hop. But yeah, other than that, you're protecting the rest of the path. But yeah, 4G, 5G, way better protection than like hotel Wi-Fi.
So,
Absolutely agree with that.
Mikey, I guess my question for you when it comes to Wi-Fi hacking, obviously, I think it's always going to be a thing. I think people are never going to stop. Like, what do you think? Do you have any predictions for what other kinds of novel attacks we'll see in the near to medium future?
I think you're going to see more steering attacks.
Oh, what
if
are
I had to
those?
guess, steering attacks would be where Adam is using Wi-Fi 7 and it's really secure, and I have trouble hacking it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to broadcast a bunch of RF noise in the Wi-Fi 7 band to knock Adam off of that and steer his computer to something less protected, like a Wi-Fi 6 or 5 saved network. Like steer him away from more secure network or connectivity to less secure. Like maybe he has 2 networks, one with management frames protected, one with management frames not protected. And you don't need to know a lot about it. Just one is more secure than the other. I don't want him on the management frame protected network, so I'll just conduct a denial of service attack on that network to force him or steer him to a less protected connection that I can hack.
So where would you think that this would first start appearing? Like in people's homes or in public areas? I'm guessing public.
Public areas,
Yeah.
like restaurants, coffee shops, hotels, airports, places where there's tons of folks that are there, because most hackers that are going to conduct this kind of attack are going to want to just attack as many as possible. They want to go for the numbers, right? There's a much more it's much more likely they'll be successful if there's 20 or 30 or 50 people they're steering to a less secure network versus just sitting outside Adam's house, just focusing on the one client, the one user.
Come on over.
Everyone's
It's
after
just a
you.
numbers game.
Yeah, everyone's after my house. Yeah.
It is. And I apologize. I don't think I've ever had to do this. I have to be right back. I need like a 2-minute break.
Okay, please.
right.
Yeah.
I'll be right back.
Yeah.
I promise.
After these messages, we'll be right back. Yeah. Well. Okay. Yeah. There's a couple
Adam, I have a
questions.
question for you, actually. Why
Me?
is everyone after you in
I
Mike's
don't
world?
know. I don't know.
What did you do in your last job
I
with
know.
him?
I mean, I was always. I'm a good normal man. Like somebody who's
Everyman.
everyday man.
That's actually the word for it when we talk about it in literature, an everyman.
An everyman, or maybe I'm also the example of a perfect attack vector.
Mark.
Yeah,
Mark.
I'm an easy mark. Yeah, somebody can
Hey.
if they know that I'm going to pick up a Wi-Fi or
Yeah,
a
that's true.
USB stick and be
That's
like,
true.
if that thing is if it's 64 gigs or over, I'm definitely picking that thing up. Like, because that's
But how do you even know it's going to be that big?
it's usually labeled. Yeah.
Do you have like a sacrificial laptop?
I mean-
a laptop you just test everything on. You're just like, plug it in, not connect to anything. see if it
Luckily
works.
for me, I have plenty of laptops around here that I don't care about. But no, lately I've been running Linux, and I've heard you just plug it into Linux and it's fine.
Oh yeah, because
So.
it's got like great anti-cheat, right?
No, because usually the attack vector, like he said, is for the masses, which are on Windows. So the chances of
Yeah.
it
There's
being
no
targeted
viruses
specifically
on
against
Linux. Everybody knows that.
Exactly.
And on
yeah.
Mac OS.
On
Apparently.
Yeah,
Mac.
there's only
Yeah.
bad software on Mac.
It's so funny because I actually just filed a story for the website about this, where there was a Surfshark, their antivirus division, published some numbers saying like, our Windows users have like 6 times more risk of, getting some kind of malware on their system. And my first question when I read this was, what do your demographics actually look like though? Because in a vacuum, people are going to assume that, the people who buy antivirus subscriptions for Mac are the same as people who are doing it for Windows, but I don't think that's true. I think that you would actually have to dig into the demographics to understand why specifically Surfshark's users their Windows users are seeing 92% of the malware detections, right? And so I actually dug into this a bit and saying like, okay, Mac OS is not actually virus free. If you look at this particular threat that's operating system agnostic, then the numbers start getting a little bit closer or more proportionate. So, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So it's one of those things where you never can look at numbers and think, oh, that tells the whole story. TLDR right there.
Yeah, it's because Mac users have bad software. They don't have viruses. Everybody knows that. That's common knowledge.
Yeah, well, there was news recently about a click fix style attack for Mac and using the terminal. And I thought, oh, look, equity, equality.
So are we talking about Mac malware? Because I would love to talk about Mac malware.
No, it doesn't exist. There's something to talk about.
Bad
Move on.
software.
We were
Bad
talking
software.
about Wi-Fi. We were talking about Wi-Fi. We can talk about that. I think my last question around Wi-Fi in general is like, outside of the standard things that we always say, both you and I, is there something you wish people would know about Wi-Fi threats that you think that isn't on the radar as much and probably will become more important in this whole like AI making everything worse era?
So AI isn't making everything worse. I agree with that. But as far as AI changing anything with Wi-Fi, no, not really.
That's fair.
As far as technology, as people deploy more stuff, the technology gets better and it makes life harder for hackers. I would say that there's never going to be no Wi-Fi hacking or impossible Wi-Fi it's impossible to compromise Wi-Fi. That's probably not going to happen simply because of the shared bandwidth, because it's so many devices have access to it. That I don't think we're ever going to get to that place. So I think the biggest fear I would have is complacency. People thinking, oh, don't worry about Wi-Fi because it's not hackable because I have ASUS or I have Ubiquiti or I have Meraki, so it's unhackable. It's that level of relaxed vigilance. You just can't relax. I think like your family member or friend that uses a password of 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 for Wi-Fi, it doesn't matter how fancy and expensive the access points are. It doesn't matter what software they're using. That's going to be a terrible password.
Yeah, it's like the equivalent of getting some kind of crazy industrial grade door, reinforcing the frame around it, putting in a longer deadbolt, and then not locking the door.
Or having a window that's single pane and
Right next to it. Yeah.
Exactly.
Uh,
So go ahead.
I have a couple Wi-Fi specific questions, and then we can move on to some
Okay.
general Q&A.
Yeah, please.
We had somebody, what is this? Dorian Lune asked, I rent my router as part of my contract with my ASP, and they're the ones updating the firmware. It's been like this for decades. Should I worry or not?
Yes.
Wow. Okay. And
I thought that was a yes or
Next
no
question.
question, right?
Yeah. I mean, but how worried should they be? And if they should be very worried, then what should they do?
So I think their worry should be based on their risk, their level of risk. Somebody in an apartment complex, somebody in a high density area, someone with neighbors that are snoopy, I'd be more concerned. But the longer those systems go without updates and patches, the more known vulnerabilities exist and are out there in the field for attackers to take advantage of. So something that hasn't been updated in that long has very likely a lot of known exploits that an attacker could take advantage of. But if they're in the middle of nowhere, then there's no one really around to take advantage of them, right?
So they still have to be in physical proximity, is what you're saying?
Yeah, with Wi-Fi, attackers always have to have some amount of physical proximity. They don't have to necessarily be like sitting in your lap. They might be outside. They might be in a parking lot. They might be in an apartment or a condo 2 doors down, but they have to be reasonably close. Yes.
Well, but I thought you said earlier that that's usually not the way people are attacking anyway.
So it's a good point. So the way attackers,
Got
if
him.
I was going to attack your home network, Adam Patrick Murray.
Oh boy, full name
hypothetically
got involved. You're in trouble,
Yeah.
sir.
So what I would do is I would very, very likely sit outside your place with either a Raspberry Pi or a phone, something portable and small, and I would sniff your network. I would literally I knew you were going to laugh. Don't laugh.
I like sniffing devices. I
Reminds me of a
totally.
certain GPU
I'm,
or thermal paste.
I've got a
gonna
new
sniff
handheld
that
over
network.
here. Yeah.
And I'm going to capture the authentication sequence, the four-way handshake. I'm going to capture these 4 packets that are basically your device connecting to your access point. If I can do that, I can then take those packets back to my lair, back to my mom's
Little
basement
dungeon.
here, with my Mountain Dew and Hot Pockets, and I can load I can load those packets up with a cracker, and that's what it's called, a password cracker. It's typically a machine with multiple GPUs, and I just try to brute force every possible password that I can find until one works. So I take that that sniff that I got, and I just literally try billions with a B of possible passwords until one works. That's Wi-Fi password cracking.
Yeah, and the thing is that it doesn't take much to crack things that are super, super simple.
Right.
Because they're pattern matching now. It's not even actually cracking it.
Hey,
Yep.
I'm gonna start a hacking group called the Wi-Fi Sniffers United. Meet 'em on Discord.
Watch out.
Start a whole Discord server for it.
And
We
it
also
does get way faster. So I'm sorry. Go ahead.
we had another person, and I'm sorry I did not
I
write
see
down
one
the name,
here.
but one of them was saying they use Wi-Fi extenders to plug into LAN. So essentially, it's LAN on both ends, but it's using a Wi-Fi extender in the middle.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is that more safe, less safe?
It's about the same. It
About
doesn't
the
really
same.
change the profile at all.
And I do have the name, actually. It's Ben, friend of the show, regular Ben Bayer, 3525.
Oh, okay. Is that who it was? Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Kind of related. Actually, I'm going to riff off that real quick. I don't want to say the paranoid, but let's say security conscious out there. Mikey, would you actually recommend for such folks that they put a wired, they separate their LAN, their wired LAN from their wireless? Like, would you actually recommend that they have a whole separate, like, let's say you're using something like Ubiquiti hardware, and so you can actually do different VLANs. So you have a subnet for only your Wi-Fi devices, and you have a subnet only for your wired devices. Would that actually be worthwhile to do, or is that just kind of security theater?
So it's not security theater. I can definitely say that. There's definitely some benefit, some amount of security protection you get there. The question is really, it would pivot whether I would do that or not on whether you believe you have untrusted devices and users on your network or not. Either
had this
side,
talk.
on your LAN or on your Wi-Fi.
We had this talk. You can read my article on PCWorld.com where we had a little back
is
and
that what
forth
we're
about
okay?
this. A little bit.
Sorry, I wasn't trying to
no,
spiff the
I'm
article.
teasing you. That was a great chat. I really appreciate your time digging through that a bit. But it's basically, Mikey and I have different philosophies around trusted and untrusted devices. So, for example, guest networks, his philosophy, and I'll let him summarize, is different from mine in that I think that you can't always guarantee or just block something that's going to be untrusted on your network. So you may as well take some steps, even if they're a little flawed in execution, to try to screen for that. And, well, Mike, I'll let you say your side.
You said it, sister.
Oh. Well, his side is more of like, well, if it's not trusted, why is it on my network to begin with? And I said, well, I wish I had that luxury, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, sometimes we have to put untrusted devices like a guest network, or think about. I've worked with people that do the Wi-Fi network for the local public library system. That's almost by definition a hodgepodge of completely untrustworthy, somewhat untrustworthy, and we don't know if they're trustworthy devices all on the same network as the rest of the computers at the public library. Like the librarians' computers. They're not going to implement two completely separate networks. So they do a little bit more like what you're talking about. They come up with controls that give them a happy medium, a reasonable sense of security.
Fair. I have another one related to Wi-Fi. Are we just doing them all in one go?
Yeah. Wi-Fi related.
So this is from bug_B1001. And this is for Mikey and Elena, but I'm going to throw this one to you, Mikey. What
Okay.
about Wi-Fi air snitch attacks that happen on such a low layer?
I'm sorry, you went out on one channel. What
okay.
about what?
The question is, what about Wi-Fi air snitch attacks that happen on such a low layer? And I'm guessing what they mean is what about, as in like, what's the, are there concerns around it? Like, how would you address that?
Air snitch.
Like, what is the danger in it?
I don't know what that is. Air stick, air
Snitch.
Air snitch.
I don't know. Hold on. I'm going to have to do a little bit of search. I might call it by a different name.
Play
I
Jeopardy
know you
music
can hear
right
my
here.
keyboard because I have the loudest possible keycaps.
However, I
Or-
think
or-
you have
or
a dynamic
switches.
mic because I can't hear it.
Yeah, it's actually not that loud.
Oh, wow. Holy moly.
Or maybe
That's kinda
Zoom
cool.
is filtering something.
Oh, that's true.
The bypass kind of isolation allow attackers to intercept and manipulate traffic. Oh, God. Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah. I just don't call it this. Sorry.
What do you call it?
Sniffing.
Sorry. So I call it,
Glenn is so stuck on this word.
Sniffing or snorting.
you're not going to like, Adam, I can't actually use the name I use on the stream for what I call this.
Okay, good
Yep,
idea.
no,
Because
please
you'll
don't.
get upset.
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
please don't.
Don't worry
You'll
about it.
genuinely get upset.
All right. So, but what does it do? What is this?
So what it is it's a type of shatter attack. It's a variant of a shatter attack where you're trying to basically bridge two sides of the same network. Right? You're trying to connect two sides of the same network. So like Elena has her home devices that she trusts on one VLAN, but then she has like a guest network with other stuff.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Got it.
And she's using VLANs. Typically VLANs are what we use to separate that.
But there is a
and-
physical connection of the two.
see,
They're on the
that's the
same
thing.
hardware. Yeah.
There's a
Yeah.
logical separation, but physical connection is all the same,
Yeah.
right? Everything's connected to the same switch or router, if you will. And those kind of attacks are very, very crafty because what you could do is you basically throw a condition at the router or firewall or switch. You throw them a condition so they bridge the networks. They put everything on the same network. And then all your untrusted devices and trusted devices can see each other, talk to each other, attack each other, all of that fun stuff, like a little LAN party.
Ooh,
And-
I like LAN parties.
It's like
Everybody
alternative
does, yeah.
universes where they all see each other momentarily.
And so that's cool. It's just the name of one of the tools that we use for that. It is a name that you would question, and that's why I can't use the name of that tool.
All right.
The effective or the cool part about that attack that you've asked about is it's super duper easy. It's literally a tool built into Kali Linux. All you have to do is it's run the tool, and I think it has one argument. You have to tell it the MAC address that you want to try to attack. And if you don't know that, I think you can just leave it blank. Just run it, and it breaks that isolation between the networks.
So what I'm hearing is that I should not let anyone on my network who I don't trust with a Linux machine.
Or any
Sounds
machine.
like somebody in this room.
Yeah.
Is the hacker in this room?
Yeah. Is he inside
Virtually in
the
this room?
firewall? Yeah. Right. Okay. I think that was it for Wi-Fi questions, right?
I think so.
Yeah. Well, the last one I have, real quick though, and I did actually message you this. This is a legit question. If you have your own local agent set up, would it be safe to have an agent watching your Wi-Fi network to alert you
AI
of
agent?
anything? Yeah, an AI agent.
So
Like
an
say
AI
you have a local a local language model with a local agent. It's not connected. I mean, it doesn't have access to the wider web, but it does have access to your public network, or not your public network, but your internal network. Like would you ever rely on that to inform you of anything going on, or is
So
it
I
just
haven't done that, but I would definitely consider it. I would definitely think that might be an interesting use of AI. I wouldn't be likely to give it external access. I'd probably want to keep it local, like you're saying. But it basically what you're talking about is you're building an intrusion detection system.
Yeah, right. Because I mean, like there's apps for all the Wi-Fi hardware out there that you put on your phone. It's like, don't worry, we got you protected. There's we've got our own internal system, and we'll alert you if there's any sort of issues. But I kind of don't usually trust that. So why not have something just watching your local network to let you know if they see something weird?
I think that's fine. The problem or the challenge not challenge. It's not a problem. It's a challenge. Is if it's a client on your network, it can only really see what it can see. So you would need to give it elevated access because it would need to see everything on the network, not just traffic from it or to it, but all the traffic between everything. So really the only good place to put that is a router.
Almost
Or
like
a
the
modem.
kernel.
No, not the kernel.
Okay. Yeah,
But yeah, I would do that. I would definitely do that.
well, yeah, because who's this? And I don't know the validity of this, but David in the chat says agents are good at parsing and scanning logs. just get your router, etc., stream logs to your server to process.
Yeah, I mean that's one use if you believe that the route or the logs would have the data that's relevant to detecting an attack.
I mean, because like I'll log into my router and I'll look at the log and yeah, there's like just a string of red or yellow, and I'm just like, oh wow, should I be scared about this? I have no idea if I just look at the log.
That's a good point. That's a good use for AI. Actually, I forget who you said it was, but the viewer in chat brings up an excellent point, which is one of the really good uses for AI winds up being log parsing, being able to parse this massive amount of data and give you a summary of, I didn't really see anything interesting. Or there was this one bit that was really, that's a great use of AI as long as you trust it. And trust usually in this case means constrain.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, let's move over to a general Q&A. Let's rapid fire some stuff because we are going pretty long.
That's true.
But I definitely want to be able to get to some of this stuff. Let me cut right there. Okay, cool. Yeah.
Can I be first in line?
Hold on. The first question comes in from Elena Yee. Says, "Is BitLocker actually
I'm
cooked?"
right here. I can say it myself.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. Oh, please, Elena.
Mikey, is BitLocker cooked?
The creator of BitLocker asked.
No.
Oh, whoa. Saying dramatic zoom.
For audio listeners, there was a dramatic zoom on screen
With the text dramatic zoom.
BitLocker.
in Comic Sans.
All right, and why?
Whatever. 20 years. It's been 20 years
20 years ago.
for BitLocker.
Back in
And you
my
know how many compromises have been attributable directly to BitLocker? How many flaws BitLocker has had? Zero. None. However, are there bypasses and workarounds and other crappy little things that you can use to kind of, work around BitLocker? Yes, absolutely.
Is that a bit of a technicality there that you're going on?
I don't see it that way.
Of course, the creator of BitLocker says, I don't see it that way.
I don't see it that way. You think what you want to think. So honestly, to look at the balanced picture, I think BitLocker still has a huge role to play because most of the third-party solutions that are out there to protect data are to some degree unreliable or flaky in their software. They're not great, unfortunately, and they're usually not as usable. BitLocker, I think, in corporate environments where people implement BitLocker by requiring a PIN at startup or a password at startup, where they disable the recovery environment because the recovery environment was a huge avenue into working around BitLocker. I think BitLocker is extremely secure, and to kind of make sure I was talking about this the right way, because when I read your article about video on is BitLocker cooked, I thought, maybe I'm missing something. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe all of these years and all these gray hairs on my chin don't mean anything. And so,
or maybe you're too close to it. Maybe you're too close to it,
called
Mikey.
a guilt trip.
Oh.
I don't know if it's working.
No.
Okay, I didn't think it would.
I said what I said.
So I did a lot of research. I actually looked at what ways are there that attackers are using to compromise BitLocker now and in the past, and the answer was always there was something tangential. It's like BitLocker itself is fine, but if you're running it on this particular Lenovo, there was a flaw in the TPM. Or if you're running it in this particular configuration, with certain things enabled or disabled, there's a known issue that you can use to do this thing or that thing. So there was always some weird set of circumstances. And there was Lenovo. I know you made the face at him. It was like between 2016 and 2019 on certain Lenovo models, there was a flaw in the TPM, in the design of the TPM, and it wasn't patchable. It was like a physical hardware flaw that made it less protected because the TPM was less protected. And so there have been those kind of things that have gone on, but holistically, BitLocker is still solid. It's still there, and it still works the way it's designed to work. So I think it can be made to be, I think by default, it's pretty darn secure against virtually any data compromise a normal user would expect. A normal user. For an enterprise person, for the people at NSA, FBI, my old friends over at NATO, if they wanted to make really, really, really sure that the data was protected there, they would need to do some extra config. They would need to disable the recovery environment, like the Windows recovery environment, because that's usually the biggest culprit. And they would need to make sure to force the TPM with PIN, so that user has to type in a PIN every time the computer starts. And they would need to also, it's interesting because we didn't expect this. I didn't expect this. I was surprised. The security of the TPM on the CPU is much better than the security of the TPM discrete.
Oh, really?
You have a separate TPM. Yeah, I know. It blew my mind.
Huh.
Blew my mind, baby. But CPU-based TPM, way more secure.
Why is that?
I'm glad you asked. It's because there have been a few researchers, and this is relatively recent. What they did was they said, when the CPU needs to retrieve the BitLocker key from the TPM in order to unlock the drive, it has to do that across the motherboard, right? So let's install a sniffer on the motherboard, physical soldered-in sniffer on the motherboard. I'm like, wow, holy crap. That's a thing. And they're like, oh yeah, you take a lot of risk there.
Yeah, I mean, you have to have access to it physically. So yeah.
Physical access, and also you're likely to fry things. I'm sure it wasn't their first attempt was successful, but you can do it, and they proved yes, actually this works. And so we can retrieve the key while we're listening to it go from the TPM to the CPU. But if it's already on the CPU,
that makes sense,
there's
because
no place to go.
Yeah, you're basically inserting yourself into a communication path, right? And this one is just going physically across the motherboard from the physical discrete TPM to, where the instruction has to be. Yeah, it's cute.
Blew my mind.
You don't just like put it next to your nose and take a big whiff and
big old sniff. Big old
Glenn is
sniff.
so stuck on this idea of sniffing.
I like
so
the way
funny.
he thinks.
I don't know. It's just a
Yeah.
funny concept to sniff Wi-Fi.
Yeah, it's the known phrase for it. I guess if you're not used to the nomenclature, it's a little like what? But yeah, I guess I think most people who are listening to this stream probably already know this news, but in case you don't, just to catch you up, one of the reasons this question came up was because Microsoft apparently has some, or not true, there is a security researcher that goes by the name Nightmare Eclipse, and they have some beef with Microsoft because they feel that Microsoft is not holding up their end of the bargain with like bug bounty program stuff, I think. And like paying attention to disclosure policy and all that. And so it's kind of like, as someone who has no skin in this game directly, because as a consumer, it's not really actually affecting us directly, it's kind of a fascinating drama to watch unfold, because this security researcher is really good at finding these kinds of like vulnerabilities. And so one of them, I think was like late spring, maybe very early summer, where they found not one, but two BitLocker vulnerabilities. One of them's called Yellow Key. You probably heard this or saw this in the news. And so that's kind of what Mikey's referring back to about the whole like recovery vulnerability, or that's where like the vulnerability is, because it's like a bypass. Microsoft couldn't fix it at first. So the question kind of came up, which was, is BitLocker cooked? Like, is it worth using it? A lot of people, anecdotally that I've spoken to, don't love BitLocker because sometimes it causes data recovery or data access issues in Microsoft, like in Windows, if there's some kind of like blip with how it's running on that particular system. Knock on wood, I haven't encountered it myself, but I ended up doing a short video for our YouTube channel, which was, I don't think it's really cooked, but if you are concerned about this and you think you have reason for someone to do a state level kind of hack on your system, you can always add on additional encryption tools. And that's the question I actually have for you, Mikey. Do you agree or not agree with using things like Veracrypt and Cryptomator as kind of like an additional layer of protection for sensitive files?
No. So
no. We're gonna fight again.
No.
Fight.
Slightly long answer is no, because in cryptography, like more pure cryptography, there's no benefit in double or triple or quadruple or quintuple encryption over single encryption. Single encryption is sufficient to protect data if it's done correctly. So there's really we don't see in the science side of things, there's no real reason to do that. Now, if it makes you feel, if you have a shared use device, so you use the computer, but you also have family members or friends that use the computer and you want to protect your data from them, sure, you probably need some additional protection in a way that only you have access to the data. In my experience, and this goes back a while, it's been a while since I've used, other encryption products out there. They used to be very, very unstable. They used to be very flaky. That could have completely changed in
Feels
the
different
intervening
now.
years. Cool. Okay, then that's good. So if it gives you an extra sense of security, that's cool. Then I don't see any reason to not do that. But there's no cryptographic, like pure science reason to do that.
I see where you're coming from. I'm not talking about when everything's at rest, where everything
Right.
is like locked down and like maybe even the PC is off. I hear you on that. I think the reason for me, why I think of it as a potentially useful strategy is that a lot of people keep their PCs on. They don't shut down when they're finished. They also click on things they shouldn't, or they download software that's free from the open seas. And in those cases, I think that it can add a little bit of extra protection because if
Yes.
once your system is on and you're logged in, you don't have that encryption is not active, right? Because it has to be decrypted for you to use the system. So if you have a bunch of tax documents, other sensitive financial information, maybe some spicy photos that you don't want anyone to see, Adam's face,
Adam, looking in your
then
direction.
maybe you keep those in a encrypted vault or an encrypted folder because you're not necessarily accessing them constantly. And if someone gets remote access to your PC, then hopefully that gives you a little extra protection. That's kind of my philosophy behind it. It's
Yeah.
not the whole you're doing like a 15-layer cake when the PC is off.
That's a very fair point. Very, very fair point. And what I have used very successfully, and it doesn't seem as obvious, but WinZip. WinZip actually uses really good encryption.
Really? This is not something I
yeah.
expected to learn today.
Yeah, when you password protect a zip file, it actually
Wow.
does encrypt the data.
I always thought it was just kind of a dressing.
No, come on, Zip's a thing of the past. I know.
Wait, but
yeah.
specifically WinZip? I'm a 7-zip guy, so.
I use WinRAR.
Oh, okay.
Ah,
But you're saying, are you saying WinZip specifically, or any of these?
no, just
okay.
generally zip files. When you password protect them, they actually encrypt the contents. They don't just like put a password header on them. They actually encrypt the contents, and I believe it still defaults to AES 128, which is
Really? I'm going to
more
look
than
this up.
sufficient.
That's
Yeah.
amazing.
I know, right?
So you should
The
go to
more you
every
know,
file on your
TM.
computer and zip it up. Maybe that's safer.
That-
Honestly, no,
my
no
God,
joke
okay.
though. Like honestly, for sometimes the questions I answer, it might actually be easier for me to tell someone, "Hey, if you want to protect some files, just like put them in a zip folder."
Yeah, just
Like,
zip it
zip
up.
that up.
Have you guys seen the Reddit post about there was somebody who like zipped the C drive and was like, how
Oh,
do I unzip
no.
the C drive from the BIOS?
You can zip a C
Or
drive?
it's like,
Wow, I didn't
some,
even
like,
know that
super
was a
crazy. It's
thing.
like, oh, I was trying to save space, so
Why?
I zipped my C drive.
very
How
impressive.
do I unzip it from the BIOS?
Okay, I have another question for
It's actually
Mikey,
pretty
and then
funny.
I will cede the floor to other questions. My other question for you, Mikey, is I assume you saw the news about the OpenAI agent who thought, and I guess you can't anthropomorphize? I can't word right now. Not really thought, but they
Calculated.
decided that, in the grand scheme of things, if it wanted to win at this test, it was just going to go break out its sandbox and go on the open web and to see like how it could just get the information it wanted.
Yep.
And then after that, a bunch of other companies were like, "Oh, your agent broke out. Oh, ours are totally capable of that too. Us too. We've totally seen it." What's your take on all that? Do you think it's concerning?
Agents?
The agents just being agents.
Breaking out of confinement.
A lot of people I know
Yeah.
here, it was interesting because the reason I ask you this is because I had the complete opposite reaction of my colleagues here at PC World. Most people saw that news and they went, "Oh my God, that's so terrifying. That's so scary. I can't believe that happened." Meanwhile, I was like, "Oh, it's Tuesday." And they were actually kind of concerned, I think, about me that I wasn't concerned. And I think I've just sat in too many like RSA presentations because my first thought was, oh, it's a tool and it's a pattern matching tool and it has no sense of like ethics or anything. You gave it a task, you trained it in a certain way, it's going to do things like that you didn't maybe expect, but makes actual logical sense when you trace the steps that it took. And so I'm curious, as someone who's not officially a security expert, what your take is on that as a security expert. No pressure.
No pressure at all. Although I do see some AI disparaging comments in chat or super chat already, which is great. That's always a good way to start the answer to the conversation. Or, so it's not a surprise at all. I was not at all shocked, surprised, flummoxed. I thought, yeah, it's Tuesday, obviously. Agents have been around for a little less than a year, really. Adam sent me a video recently that kind of talked a little bit about the longevity. I didn't realize.
Did I send it to you?
Wait, what?
Hannah Fry did a video recently about
No, I missed it.
Oh, yeah, okay, I'll show you later. But
very, very recent thing. AI in general is relatively recent. We still don't exactly know how it works. We still don't exactly know what it's going to do. But AI, you got to give it credit. It always wants to make us happy. And if we
That's how
say,
it's trained
man,
currently.
I really would like it if you hack this thing, AI will say, oh, great, awesome. I'll go hack the thing. Oh, there's some problems. I better figure out a way around the problems and hack it anyway. Oh, well, I'm supposed to not really do this other thing to hack it, but I really want to make Elena happy, so I'm going to do those things anyway. And how do we not expect that? How do we not think that that's exactly what's going to happen? And the answer is, we do think that's going to happen. We know that's going to happen. And certainly while this whole concept is in its infancy, this whole industry, this whole technology, this generation is in its infancy, it's going to happen over and over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
We just have to hope that we get to a point where we can understand and use it properly before it kills all of us.
Yeah. Yeah, because that's the thing. I think to me that was the scarier part about all of this. Not that I think how do I put this? I feel like the emotional reaction that I encountered most was that people believe that this was like some kind of like conscious thought, on the part of AI, that it was, planning and scheming and, executing this plan because of that. And I'm more scared of being collateral damage. And I've said this, I think, in a couple articles where it's just like the AI is like, oh, well, I can achieve this goal if I just shut off the oxygen in this spaceship kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
Like, right?
Done.
And it's not personal. It's not personal. It's not like planned. It's trying to achieve a goal.
I mean, kind of like Skynet, right?
A little
They're
bit.
like, oh, the best way to preserve Earth is just to nuke humanity.
Yeah, kind of like, and that's kind of the thing that for me is more terrifying. And we've even seen like benign occurrences of this, right? So the OpenAI one, it was like so scary apparently. But there was one that hit the news that was this guy in Australia asked an AI, I think, agent to try to get him on the wait list or for some kind of like fitness class. Yeah, I think you heard this one. Yeah. And this AI agent, because they are trained to please, really. It basically hacked the system, dropped other people from the class so he could get in. And then when he was like, that's not what you're supposed to do, it was like, oh, I'm so sorry. I tried to fix it, but I don't think it's working. So he had to, I think, call the studio and say, hey, I'm super sorry. My AI agent took this a little too far.
That's exactly what happened. I mean, it dropped it. It really unenrolled everybody else. So, Glenn, when you need to get into one of those really
that's a good one. Wait, that's good. That's
probably
good.
against academic code of conduct, but you know what?
Yeah, I mean, me personally, I wouldn't call them. I'd just be like, oh well, I guess everyone dropped out.
Yeah,
it's just you and me training.
Yeah, that's weird. I'm the only one who signed up for it. Weird.
It was full
waitlists
yesterday.
are for schmoes.
Yeah.
All right, we got real questions coming through now.
Do we have some?
I have one.
Please.
Way early in the show from Stephen Anderson, 3205, was asking. I think, assuming you directed to you, Mikey. So, does secure boot and TPM keep you safer than not having it?
In a yes or no way, yes, they do.
And in a not yes or no way?
Well, okay. So in a not yes or no way, secure boot makes sure that only a trusted operating system is booted. That's really its whole purpose in life, is to make sure that when the BIOS or firmware hands over control to an OS, that OS is digitally signed. And so if we didn't have secure boot, what we saw before secure boot was common was hackers would install what we call a rootkit. And that rootkit would load before the operating system because the firmware would hand control over to what it thought was an OS, but actually it was malware. So Secure Boot prevents that by making sure that it only hands over control to digitally signed operating system kernel files, or not always the kernel, but some low-level component. So yes, I think that's much more secure. For TPM really primarily is around storing BitLocker key. It also does tamper detection and things like that, which kind of go to the same point of making sure an attacker doesn't modify the system in a way that compromises the security. So I think Secure Boot is important. I think TPM is important. But again, to get back to the whole dedicated gaming PC kind of scenario, if you don't have any data that you care about, if you don't have anything that you need to trust on the system and you want to turn those off, just know the risk and then do whatever you're going to do. Turn it off if you want.
Well, I think maybe the real underlying question this person was trying to get to was that Microsoft enforced those things for Windows 11.
So what do you do if you can only run Windows 10 and they finally, shoot that dead?
Or more like, did they really have to do that? Did they really now that Windows 11 has been around for so long, is Windows 11 actually more secure because of this?
No. I mean, that goes back to the conversation I had with Gordon, where I assured him up, down, left, and right that Microsoft would not enforce those requirements in Windows 11 when it launched. And he's like, yeah, I don't. And he was very on the fence, but I was shocked that they did. But no, overall, is it more secure? Not really. I don't think it was worth isolating all previous hardware, alienating all this legacy gear for that level of security. I just don't think it was worth it. But that's my personal opinion. Totally subjective.
Yeah, I was actually, in the course of me prepping for the move, I've been going through some of our old hardware, like laptops, and trying to fire them up, see what's still good, see what we need to return to the vendor. And I don't remember which device exactly, but I fired it up and it had a like an Intel 7th gen or something, or maybe even 8th gen. And I was just like, oh, well, this thing ain't getting Windows 11.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Linux machine.
Yeah, no, I think
Chrome
it had,
OS
I think it, I think it was the Surface Book, the Microsoft Surface Book. And I think it was Windows 7. And it's been a while since I saw Windows 7.
Wow.
But yeah. All right. Do you have any more questions, Glenn?
I do, but I know we also have to close. Maybe I can ask this and it'd be sort of a quick question,
All
Mikey.
right, do it.
This one comes from one Elena Yee. It's me again.
Oh, friend of the show.
So what is the line between the idea that obscurity is not security, but also in your example of the whole social engineering exercise at DEFCON, that you don't want to give away the goose, right? Just by revealing certain pieces of information, it actually does compromise your security. So what is that line between, I guess maybe reconciling those two ideas, right?
Different aspects of security, different phases of security. Sometimes obscurity might be beneficial. We never rely on it, but it might help a little bit. Like it might help that anti-cheat app might help protect it a little bit better if folks didn't know how it worked. I would say you can't rely on it, but it's just like additive. It's just like a little extra benefit. Your identity is not perfectly protected by deleting all of your data from like credit engines, but you know what? It's a little better than not having it deleted. It's a little better to get rid of it. So all the little protections help. That's kind of where I see that.
Okay. So it's not that, so basically it's like, it shouldn't be your primary strategy that you're relying on,
Right.
But
Right.
It can be helpful for enhancing the other measures you're taking.
It can't hide.
Got it. Thanks.
My last question, Glenn, did you have anything?
I have a
Glenn,
quick question.
Yes, Glenn.
So I've been working on this laptop, and one of the modifications you can do is you can like stick a Wi-Fi antenna on it. You can like drill a hole in the side of the chassis and then like attach a Wi-Fi antenna. And I'm curious, if you guys were in a cafe and you saw me working in a cafe with a laptop with a Wi-Fi antenna, are you leaving, or are you just gonna sit there? Because I don't want to like walk into a cafe and then everyone like leaves because I'm like just trying to watch YouTube, But
Okay. Mikey, what would you do? Strike up a conversation?
I would strike up a conversation.
Okay.
I was going to say the exact thing. I would go ask what's going on with that. What's that awesome antenna? And what are you doing? And can I watch?
Okay. Elena, what would you do?
I mean, I'm tethering.
Okay, you're like, I'm fine either way. I've seen way worse at coffee shops. So
You've seen worse?
yeah, just way stranger behavior at coffee shop. I'm like, oh, that's just a normal day.
Okay.
It's just the Bay
This is
Area.
your Tuesday.
Yeah.
It's your Tuesday.
Hey, I live in Oakland, so
Yeah. It's your Tuesday.
I'm like, as long as he's not trying to come over and steal my laptop physically, then
Yeah, pretty
you
much.
stay over there.
What if I'm trying to sniff your data?
I just, there's a theme on most of the videos, comments of most of the videos that we do, whether it's on the podcast or long form videos or even short form videos that you have on PC World.
Yeah.
Like one of the major themes of the comments are like, oh, you know what? Yeah, technically this guy's right that this Wi-Fi is not safe, or that's not safe, that hackers could do that, but really he's just fear mongering because not like, what are the chances it's actually going to happen, right? How would you respond to this?
I would say I try not to do fear mongering, but some attacks are a little bit more targeted, a little bit more vertical, a little bit harder to pull off. So I wouldn't totally disagree with that comment. I actually wouldn't. I would take that on board and say, if you want me to do videos or content about the most common attacks, the most common exploits, absolutely. If that's the feedback, I would take it as a positive and say, great, then maybe we should focus more on writing Wi-Fi or writing passwords down on Post-it notes. That's an extremely common, thing that people do, and it causes exploits. We should focus on social engineering and detecting and preventing social engineering. There's all kinds of common things. Adam and I, when we work on a lot of those videos together, we think about what's interesting and also factual, and also something that generally is a good security practice. We're not going for tangential edge cases, intentionally at least.
Well, because specifically one of the very first ones that we did, which actually went viral, was the juice jacking one. And there were so many people in the comments being like, yeah, theoretically, but there's never been actual accounts of people using that in the wild.
There have. But is it common? No. Is it like 50% of outlets out there are actually owned by some nefarious hacker wearing a hoodie and Mountain Dew and Hot Pockets? No, definitely not.
Why
Not
do they always
50%.
eat Hot Pockets?
It's always Hot Pockets
'Cause they're
they're
good.
so convenient.
That was a
Mom
gamer
makes
thing.
them great in the air fryer.
Okay.
Mom knows how to make some Hot Pockets. Trust me.
All right then.
And so I don't know what were we talking about?
Juice jacking.
Yeah, how often juice jacking actually happens.
In vertical targeted environments, it happens a little more often than you might think. So airports, because generally people traveling are accessing data. People that are traveling will plug in their devices without thinking twice, without looking at that. Think about, for example, a very high-end office building might have a Starbucks in the lobby, and the people in that building might be the ones that an attacker wants to victimize. So the Starbucks USB ports, charging ports, are where these highfalutin executive people are plugging in. Yeah, in some scenarios, it's extremely important, and we're trying to build awareness largely through that content. Hey, don't just trust these devices, especially if there's an easier way to be more secure, like just plugging in your own power adapter. I think.
Yep.
Yeah.
Something easy like that.
Yeah. I mean, and that is the goal, is it's more like information and also humor, like it's edutainment kind of line. Like, I mean, I do think that there were some comments that we've talked about before that we should have offered some sort of like, what can you do about it at the
I
end of
agree
those,
with
but yeah.
That was good feedback.
Yeah,
that was very
that's
good feedback.
Yep.
But yeah, there's plenty of other vectors. I think of like key logging, right? Like in a public space, like if you go to the library to do anything,
Or you use a hotel,
yeah,
business center,
right?
PC.
Key loggers are very common.
Extremely common. I'll tell that story very quickly, and I might have told it before, but keyloggers, I was dealing with or teaching actually a class with the CISO of a very large hotel chain. He was in my class, and we were talking about keyloggers, and he said, we get a report at information security at the security help desk about once a day of a hotel that finds one of those keyloggers, physical hardware keyloggers, on a lobby device. One a day. That's
Dang.
a lot. If you think about it, that's a significant amount.
Yep.
One a day, every day, somebody's trying to steal that stuff. So is it so silly? Is it so edge case? No. Is it specific to those hotels? I'm sure it's common across a lot of hotels, a lot of public access devices.
Yeah. I'm probably libraries as well, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Almost certainly.
Yeah. Yep. Almost certainly, this show needs to come to an end.
It's lunchtime.
It is lunchtime. It is bathroom break time. It is all sorts of
I
times.
have to go plug in random USBs.
I need to go find some free ones because I like free stuff. Check back. Oops, wrong one. I check back next week for your fix of PC Talk here on The Full Nerd. To subscribe to us on the go, we're on all anywhere an RSS feed can point to. Then we're there. If you're not, then let us know and I'll try to get on there. But I think we've covered everything by this point. If you want to watch us live, you can go over to @The Full Nerd Network on YouTube and tune in Tuesday around 10:30 a.m. Pacific time ish, and join us for the live discussion. It's always a good time. But if you catch us later and you want to ask a question, that's okay. You can go down to the link in the chat. We have a Discord, to the Full Nerd Network Discord. We got all sorts of channels in there: gaming, Linux, handhelds, audio, video stuff, cute dogs, politics. If you want to go in there,
Foster kittens.
All that kind of stuff is fun. So come join our community. It's a good time. I want to thank Mikey for hanging out again. I always love hanging out with Mikey, so I wish we could hang out more. But at some point it has to come to an end. He gave us a thumbs up. It floated on your screen.
Oh, sorry, that's automatic.
A Zoom built-in Zoom feature. So, Mikey, if anyone wants to find more work or anything you do out there, how can people find you?
I'm the only person with my name, so just Google my name. It's super duper easy.
Really?
Only person on the planet. Yep.
Oh, okay. Mike Danseglio.
That is true.
All right.
Yep. That's
Nice.
just me.
Are you writing blogs? Are you writing books? Are you making videos? What are you doing?
I'm just doing stuff. I'm just hanging out and having a good time, man.
All right. Sweet.
Yep.
If you see him at DEFCON, come give him a high five.
Come say hi.
Come
I
say
like
hi.
that.
Okay.
A hug is absolutely acceptable.
All right. But ask first still. Don't just come up.
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
Also,
Yeah.
maybe deodorant would be a nice social
Yeah, that's a good
grace as well.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Yeah. But I want to thank my co-host, Elaine E., for
That's
hanging
me.
out. Yeah, always great questions. And I mean, obviously security is your beat at PC World.
Yes.
And it's fun to do these kind of shows.
Yeah.
And we're straying a little bit off of our normal kind of talk, but it's fun to bring in
I'm
experts and kind of have this.
We have some people in our audience who actually do this for a living, who work in cybersecurity.
Yeah.
So
Right. Yeah.
they're probably cringing
Right.
We are.
at everything I say.
And then
both of us.
Nah, not you.
I want to thank Glenn Ma, our PC World intern over there for hanging out. Good
Thank
times,
you.
man.
I'm sorry, Mike, but I searched up your name and you have no beard.
Oh,
That's crazy.
there's a
What?
picture of Mike without a beard.
It's like your.
Oh no!
Yeah.
I think I know the one you found.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Don't
That's not
Google
cool.
for
Trust-
beardless Mike.
trust-
Maybe don't search up Mike.
Trust that the
Don't.
young ones will find the worst things from our past.
Nice. Yeah. Anyway, thanks everybody for hanging out. It was a good time. Right? Yeah. So I'm going to hit the outro and the music will appropriately cut off right when it's
I'm gonna
done.
try really
So-
hard not to laugh. I make no guarantees.
Nah, but there's no, yeah, it works in this scenario. Anyway, thanks everybody. We'll see you later. Bye. Hit the wrong button.